Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode at the Troubling Tribune. We are going to go ahead and get kicked off a True Earth debate that was live from TikTok. Now, I do have, unfortunately, some bad news. This is something that just happened over the course of the last 30 minutes, which is unfortunately why I'm tardy. So I do apologize in advance. But to double down on the bad news, while I was doing my last few test streams, I'm not sure exactly what happened on the TikTok, but I got shadow banned. And I just spent the last 30 minutes trying to get my live to be visible to others. And unfortunately, it just was not. So I could go live, but I couldn't share the live. I couldn't get people in there to see that we were live. And I even went in from a separate account and saw that, unfortunately, it was saying that I wasn't live. So there was nothing to join, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and get that figured out over the next day. Hopefully, we will go ahead and be ready to go tomorrow with that. So, in place, we are going to go ahead and bring you a consolation prize, if you will, and do a live watch party of my full TikTok live that we did last week. And we did have some great guests on. We were graced with the troll Globy McGlobeface, as well as level 610 on the True Earth side. So we had some great guests all around. Good conversations were had, and we would appreciate you joining us for that. So I will be in the chat, chopping it up with you all. Any who would like to join, who maybe didn't have a chance to see that, we're going to go ahead and get things rolling here now. So while I go ahead and get this pulled up, I'll go ahead and go through our sponsor. We are sponsored by TruthSmacks.com. Now, TruthSmacks is a small company. They just want to help spread the truth, one delicious morsel at a time. And the way that they do that is with a delicious, nutritious, organic trail mix. So go to truesmacks.com and check out their resource page because the information is free. So you can go ahead and check that out. It has various links, resources, experiments, and all kinds of useful information when you're trying to go against the mainstream. So don't be caught without a source. Go ahead and go to truesmacks.com. And when you want to go ahead and help yourself to that snack, go ahead and use the promotion code SKY to get 10% off your total order. All right. With that shameless grifting out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, hop in the chat, and I will see you all there. Go ahead and get this started. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you all on the other side. Welcome. Let's get it going. Let's get ready to rumble. Sounds great. Debate. Audience up to listen and let's get things. Go ahead and smash this screen here. Let's give us some likes. Sound is good. Awesome. Testing out a little bit of a new setup. Not that you guys can tell because I'm using the digital background, but we have changed up our whole studio. So feels great. Got the feng shui nice. We are loving it. For following, anybody who has not done so already, please be sure to do so. And we're waiting. Dang, jumped up to 100. Heck, and shamelessly plug. Go ahead and check out your sources at truthsmacks.com. The information is free at their page. And if you like them, be sure to sort them by picking yourself up a delicious bag of organic Truth Smacks. So, go ahead and get things cooking. Go ahead and do a quick quick poll. Mama needs a dab. If you do that for me, let's go ahead and do it. How many people do we have in here that support the standard model of the globe Earth? We're going to go ahead and put a frowny face for that. And if you think it's something different, go ahead and put a smiley face because you're questioning things. And that's always good here. True Earth or globe? Love it. Go ahead and voices heard. Let's go ahead and flood these comments. Get it going. Only 576 likes. That's pretty sad. I need you guys to smash that likes. That's the only way to get the show out here so we can get some Globers in here that can actually debate us. So let's go. Zoe, we got a Globe Earther. We got one Globe Earther. Oh no. I'm sure we have tons of flat earthers in here as well. So we'll go ahead and let that poll continue. I mean, anybody who's really done the research, in my opinion, should have come to the conclusion that the Earth is a flat and stationary level plane. No measurement of motion, no measurement of curvature has been shown. And we like to see some demonstrable evidence, something empirical, not just a reification, model beating. Let's go ahead and actually get some science in it. That is what it is all about. Unfortunately, out of the 100 people that are in here, not a single one of you would like to go ahead and debate. I like the video on Globe. There's tons of videos on Globey's page, so a little bit specific there would help. Let's get it going. Oh my goodness. No, so we got any good points? I mean, if you can't join in, you can still give us an argument in the comments. Got anything worth anything to look at? Oh, nice. There's one with me. Haven't even seen it. That's awesome. I'll trade you. You give us a picture of the edge of your crazy, super vast universe, and maybe we can get you a picture of the edge of the Earth, of where we're not going to go past the 60th South Pole. Explain atmospheric pressure gradient in a closed system. That is exactly the flat Earth point, actually. That seems to suggest that there has to be some sort of container or some sort of ceiling for the air to push off of. So, anyway, everything that we're talking about today, just to know, go ahead and get this disclaimer out. Just opinions, religious views, yada yada. You know the drill. Don't strike us, TikTok. We love you. I do not think we've been to the moon, Larry. Fortunately, I think there was, regardless of what model you believe in, there was plenty of incentive to fake that. So the gradient is impossible in a closed system. See that? So far, I can tell the gradient is only possible in a closed system. By the way, they're really need to spam. Unless, of course, I have guessed in, then maybe, max it 3 times and then cut it, just in case. Sometimes miss stuff. Air pressure would be actually not true. You haven't taken that all factors into account. When you take propane tank, actually a known thing that the liquid forms on the bottom and the lighter gas stays towards the top, which would be a pressure inside a closed system, which you said was impossible. So, maybe I'm not, but I don't think so. So a closed system will equalize, but there's also still density. So, there is things that take account. It's not like density just does because you put things into a container. Why do they call it the world, Mike? What is that question for? Is that for or is that for Globies? I honestly don't know. Well, like The Sims, like The Truman Show, a bunch of pop culture references have alluded to.
That's a good question. Why do they call it the world? I don't think I looked up the etymology for that. Let's go ahead and do that world etymology. What? Oh no. We got crushed. What are we going to do? Hey, just makes my job all the better. So many people that we can preach to. Welcome to Flat Earth Evangelism. Just kidding. I do prefer the debate style. So people with good points, go ahead and present them. We'll be happy to hash it out. Any theory that relies on secret keeping is that's a blanket statement. I think it's safe to say that all blanket statements are automatically false. So try again, my friend. The sun and moon, really don't know. They definitely seem to be local. Definitely don't think the sun is 93 million miles away. I don't know how we would possibly know that. The liquid propane and the I think you understand on there is because it's been compressed, and it gets compressed more at the bottom, because there's a preferred direction. So all blanket statements are false is a blanket statement. That's hilarious. You got me there. I don't really know what to say for that. Oh, followed up by bird up. You know what? I guess I'm going to have to issue a retraction. You guys got me. Not all statements are false, just most. Sun doesn't give direct activates. Weird. Why would there be a preferred direction? Running flat earth, knowing that it's electrostatics that are causing the direction that, and then buoyancy and density kind of sort everything else out. Transit parallax, spectroscopy, etc. I'd love for you to try to explain every single one of those. I've listened to the explanations. I'm just not buying it. So you're telling me that you shot a laser to Venus and it bounced back and you counted the time. And well, how did you do that? We have an ionosphere and two other layers that bounce those signals back. Do they bounce it back or do they go through to then bounce planets out in the outer space? Yeah, I'm not talking about electromagnetism. I'm talking about electrostatic forces. Nobody wants to jump in. My goodness, I got 72, and not one of you has 1,000 followers. It's pretty sad, don't you think? Oh, nice. Got our first guest request. Let's bring him in. Eric,
All right, hold on.
Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So, okay, could you elaborate on the the static electricity? Your theory there.
Yeah, so it's not really my theory. It's just a theory that I've heard. But as far as we'll call it the true Earth side versus the globe side, the true Earth side is saying that the difference between the static charge between I'm probably messing this up a little bit because I'm not an expert on it, but basically the static charge that is holding the nuclear forces together. I'm saying that wrong. The
Like the
pardon my
protons
brain fart. Yeah, exactly. The electrostatic force that's binding all the atoms together. That's the same force that's setting the downward direction.
Okay, and you don't think that mass, that the attraction between masses, you just deny that completely, or?
Well, I think that one side it tries to ignore that there is a basically tries to say that there is no up and down and that everything is all relative, and so we're suspended in this floating nothing. The other side believes that we're at the bottom, the basement of the universe. So we don't think that this mass, your mass attracting mass, is something that coalesces everything into spheres. We don't accept that the things way off that you claim are way off in the distance, those lights in the sky, are super duper massive celestial objects pulled into spheres by this theoretical force of gravity.
Right, I get what you're saying. I mean, you're just kind of basing off your own observations. I mean, right?
I mean, for the most part, I'm not even going to go as far as to say that I've made the direct observation of most of this stuff. This is stuff that I'm researching. But yeah, I'd say that we try to keep things towards the empirical side, which electrostatic variable is something that we've manipulated. And we have seen that we can basically create anti-gravity effects and increase the force of gravity, mind you, depending on what static charge we add to. Well, I'm kind of messing it up when I say add a charge, like positive or negative, because that's really not how it works. It's really you're either adding a charge or taking it away. But depending on which one you do, you can actually increase the weight of something or make something float.
Okay, I'll give you that. And now back to the buoyancy and density though. Without the constant of gravity, buoyancy and density just cease to exist.
So, if I may, um, now I assume that you're somewhat open-minded. Now, when you look at that equation for buoyancy specifically, it basically says you have to calculate for this little g, right? Which that little g is simply the average downward acceleration, 9 point whatever it is, meters squared.
Meters per second squared, yes.
Exactly. So that number, that downward acceleration, can be caused by anything. Simply saying that caused by this scientific force of gravity is where the fallacy comes in. The truth is that we really don't know exactly what's causing that. However, we're starting to think it's actually the electrostatic forces that are causing that downward acceleration. So we're not arguing that the downward acceleration exists. You're simply saying that it's little g. We just like to say it's little a.
Okay, I respect that stance, but you got to call it something. I mean, so you're basically just calling it something else. I mean, but it's still kind of the same principle, though, is it not?
I mean, kind of. The only difference is that we actually don't need everything to coalesce down into giant spheres as they get supermassive. That's something that's kind of presupposed on top of the presupposition of gravity. It's like a presupposition on top of a presupposition.
Okay, I understand where you're going there. Well, okay, so let's talk about, instead of massive objects, what about water? You take a single drop of water, and it makes like a tear glass, like a tear shape when it's falling, right? Or if you set like a drop of water on the counter, it's going to form a spherical shape, does it not?
So
What
that's
would your
so there's actually another force at play there called surface tension. So because water has surface tension, that's why when you have those droplets, it forms little teardrop, little spheres, if you will.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Lost Knowledge? Thanks for joining the show.
No problem, no problem. I'm doing well. Yes, yes, yes. I see you made a claim here, sir, behind static electricity, and you tried to include it with gravity. You just took a component, sir, from electromagnetism and tried to involve that with gravity. That doesn't work that way, sir. That is electromagnetism. You're debunked behind your gravity claim you just made due to electromagnetism, sir. Would you like to try again behind your gravity?
Yeah, correct me if I'm
Well,
wrong, Mr. Knowledge,
before
but go ahead.
no, you're fine, Eric. Just kind of to your point, simply saying that something is debunked does not mean that it's debunked. Simply saying that
That's fine.
it
Just prove
does not
gravity
work.
then.
No,
Prove
I don't have
gravity
to.
then.
I don't have to
Well, correct
prove
me if I'm
gravity.
wrong, but
I'm not the one with the gravity claim.
electromagnetism is not a
You just
force,
made
though,
it,
is
sir.
Correct me if I'm wrong there.
So I did
What
not
you
make
say,
the
sir?
claim. I did not make the claim that that gravity is a thing. I'm making the
So you,
claim that there is no actual evidence for this force of gravity. However, there is evidence for the force of electrostatics and electromagnetism. So,
I could have sworn I was just watching, sir, and you said due to static, yeah, electricity, it makes gravity. You guys can change the effects of gravity, basically, is what you said.
oh, the acceleration downward, yeah, we can. It's called a Van de
Yeah,
Graaff generator. And when you actually add a charge, you can, well, I'm gonna have to look at the experiment again to see which way it goes because I don't want to get mixed up and tell you something incorrect. But basically, depending on what you do, adding a charge or taking the charge away, you can increase the weight of an object or cause an object to float.
Well, forgive me for
that's
saying this,
cool,
but you're
but
you're speaking on something that you're not truly. You said it yourself that you haven't done these experiments, and you're familiar with them, but you're not even aware exactly the outcome of the experiment. But you're still speaking on them.
No, I'm aware of the
and
outcome. The
sir,
outcome the outcome
sir,
was that when they added a charge or when they took away a charge, they were able to make a helium balloon um, basically sink back down to the ground. And conversely, they were able to take tinfoil, thin tinfoil, and they were able to make it float. So, and this
sir,
is
can
all
you
done with the same
tell me how
device.
they ever detect gravity? How have they ever seen gravity, found gravity? I mean, you just made a claim behind it.
What do you mean by gravity, first off?
When I say gravity to static, where did they
Um,
find it?
well, don't play the game of back and forth. I'm asking you a simple question to define the gravity that you're talking about because I simply
Yours.
acceleration. I've said
I'm talking
the
about yours.
acceleration. Yeah, the acceleration
Yes.
downward. I've said it 3 times now. We can
Yeah, I
manipulate that
understand.
acceleration
Where did they find
but
that
with a
though?
charge, with a
Sir,
Van de
where
About
did
Graaff
you,
where did we
generator.
sir,
get here? You
sir,
said that we can
sir,
control gravity through
sir,
electric, but you
sir, sir,
yeah, go
let
ahead,
me
knowledge.
finish,
Go ahead.
sir. I'm still talking here. Thank you. Yes, sir. You said gravity, sir. I'm just saying, sir, where did they find this gravity you are talking about and proclaiming and claiming and hanging on to, sir? That's all I'm asking.
Bro, what the freak are you talking about? Can you make some
How are
sense?
you not understanding, sir? It's I'm asking you a question behind what you stated and said. Static, you can literally change through static. You can change the effects of gravity. This is what you stated. How can't you keep up
How do
with
you
what
not
you said?
how do you not understand? Well, see, I'm trying to think of that you must mean something else because I've said 4 times now that gravity in true Earth models simply means acceleration downward. Okay? So we can change that effect with a Van de Graaff generator.
Right. I understand you said that. And I asked you behind that, where did y'all find gravity? You just said you can change the acceleration and gravity. So where did you find gravity? What are you talking about?
The
How are
acceleration
you
downward,
changing? Where did you find it though? I need your source of it though. Yeah,
I
right. Where did you
I don't
find
understand.
gravity?
I'm not
Where it
understanding,
But
honestly.
okay. So you just
what
making
I'm
a claim
saying
here.
is,
You don't have nothing to back up what you're saying. You're just saying words. Okay.
No, I'm seriously
All right.
trying to. You're confusing the hell out of me, Mr. Lost Knowledge. Just to be real with you,
You're
I
confused
clearly
here,
said
actually, sir. You're very much confused. You are making a claim behind static. Oh, wait, what's going on, baby? Oh, go ahead. I'm back. Yeah, you made a claim behind static and gravity, but now you're not keeping up with what it is you said. And I'm asking you
I
literally, where
said
did you
five
find
times now.
gravity?
Gravity is
If you probably
acceleration.
let me finish, you might understand it. Where did you find? You said it's an acceleration. Thank you. Okay, where does your gravity derive from then? Is that better? Do you understand better?
So we believe that it's derived from
Uh
the
huh.
static charge that is present
That's
in all
impossible, sir,
things.
because that's
Well,
electromagnetism.
we can. No, it's not impossible. You just don't
Yeah.
understand. See,
No, you
electrostatic
don't.
is a.
You're making a
So are you
claim.
saying that? So are you claiming that electrostatic force is not a thing?
Due to the fact of static electricity flows through the air, sir, electrons do too that are being attracted down
well,
to the giant magnet called the Earth. That debunks your claim of your little gravity you trying to twist and manipulate on my static electricity. That's all I wanted to come up here and let you know, though. You understand the dig? I'm gone.
Are you a globe earther or a flat earther?
Earth all the way, man. Mr. Flat Earth itself, you know what it is and what I do.
Flat gang. All right. So
okay,
just so you know, we're on the same team. I
I'm,
think that maybe you're trying to correct me in something, but you're being very confusing in how you're doing it. Because I'm really just not understanding the difference. I get that Globers call it gravity, so I call it gravity so that Globers understand what I'm talking about. But I'm simply talking about the downward acceleration, and we can manipulate that downward acceleration with a Van de Graaff generator. So that's all I was trying to say. I didn't mean for that to be confusing.
Okay, so you're saying that we can, alternate gravity with the outside influence, but you're still acknowledging that the gravity exists, that the acceleration exists.
Sure, but the acceleration, so everybody can acknowledge that the acceleration exists. We're all down. Like
So why not
that's
call
not
what's
something
wrong with
debatable.
calling it gravity though? It's common term that we've used for years. What's wrong with calling it gravity?
Because calling it gravity creates a whole new pseudo force that attributes it and basically takes the electrostatics out of the equation. So when you'll look at it, you'll see that um, hold on, let me address this comment real quick. Electrostatic, incoherent dielectro saying it all twisted now. Incoherent dielectric acceleration is a thing. You can look up that specific term.
Okay. Thank you for acknowledging that. So you do acknowledge there are ferromagnetic fluids, there are diamagnetic, there are things that are not affected by magnetics or static, correct? These things that there are elements that are not affected by magnetism, correct? But they're
Of
still affected
course,
by gravity.
magnetism and electrostatic forces are different. Incoherent electrostatic force would affect everything. The electrostatic is present through everything. You can't isolate it. As long as there are molecules present, electrostatic forces are present.
Well, if that was true, then we wouldn't have ferromagnetics or diamagnetics or anything like that, correct? I mean, I'm trying to be open-minded and understand your point of view here, but just help me understand.
So acceleration.
Enlighten me.
So in the simplest I can put it, because the Earth has an overly negative charge and the air a increase to go in elevation, positive charge, as you go up, the difference in this charge creates a downward vector. Force because it's incoherent.
Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one until I do the more research on that. I'm not going to argue that. Interesting point of view, though. I appreciate that. I really
For sure.
do.
And I do want to correct the record because people in the comments, and myself included, when I first heard about this stuff, I got really confused about it, and I was calling it magnetism and all this things. That it's actually, we're talking about different things. Dielectric acceleration is a different thing than electromagnetism. So
Okay.
to say that because not everything's affected by magnetism is just complete red herring. It doesn't address the point at all.
That's fair. Okay, I agree with that. But let's jump into the subject. Now, the blue, I'm sure you're familiar with that. A lot of people say, the Earth, the spherical Earth, CGI, which, yes, admittedly, most of them are taken from composites. However, before CGI was heard of, we have the picture of the blue marble taken on actual, what was it, 53 millimeter film or on actual film though, I mean, how do you?
You can fake an image like that from low Earth orbit. If you've watched Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, it's a documentary. Now, some are saying that the documentary itself has been debunked, as in that wasn't a real thing that they actually did. However, um, the method that they're talking about using is definitely possible. There's no reason for us to believe that NASA couldn't dark out the room and create a circle and then take a picture of it from low Earth orbit. Especially if you just look at like the size of the continents and stuff, it just really doesn't seem to make sense.
Okay, yeah, I've definitely seen, some conspiracy theory and videos on the moon landing that definitely have me skeptical, but I've also seen, are you familiar with Adam Conover and his show Adam Ruins Everything?
Oh yeah.
his show on the moon landing, I was convinced that, hey, we never landed on the moon until I saw that episode, and then that kind
Oh
of
man, I'm so sorry that he convinced you. He really is a terrible, terrible debater.
he got me. He put that skepticism, back into my mind that, hey, maybe we did, maybe, like again, I'm trying to be open and minded as possible here, but I like to address facts and not speculation.
Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull up something here.
Yeah, please take your time. Yeah, I will be the first to admit I don't know everything, man. This is why I'm here, man.
Let's see if I can get this to come up. I'm going to move out of the way so you can see the direction of these shadows. Now, I've seen the Adam Ruins Everything episode on the moon landings, and honestly, I was completely underwhelmed. You should also probably understand that he wants us to eat the bugs and follow all the other mainstream BS, which I'm sure that there's something in there that you can find that you disagree with, but not Adam. So, with that being said, I really have a hard time taking his arguments as genuine. He's just given a script. But this right here, to me, is like a big evidence that it's shake is fit, as it says right here. If you can see over here, where's my finger at? Let me pull back here. You can see this shadow going one way.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the shadow of the astronaut going completely perpendicular to that.
Which would definitely indicate multiple light sources. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%. And to me, this is just one of those things that tells me it was done in a studio. That, the fact that they never break the wall in the background, that sets the background image.
Well,
So, I mean, there was plenty of reasons why we would want to fake the moon landing, though. You don't have to be a true earther to.
With the height of the Cold War and everything, I mean, absolutely, it makes sense. It would. However, Adam Conover, he's a conspiracy theorist, and he's not hesitant to call out the government on their bullshit.
They only do Eric, not to cut you off, but you should know that there's something called, basically it's like pre-approved conspiracies, like conspiracies you're allowed to talk about. For example, we're allowed to talk about aliens. We're allowed to talk about if they're here or not. We're allowed to talk about if we're living in a simulated universe, and things like that. We're allowed to talk about the Kennedy assassination. But when it comes to like other things like the True Earth and 9/11, COVID, and all that kinds of stuff, you got to put those disclaimers out there. We get the wazoo, which should really tell you something about what's going on.
I hate to agree with you on that 110%, man. Spot on, dude.
I appreciate your candor, man. Not everybody's willing to, yield on a certain point, but I appreciate you being open and not just trying to hammer.
I mean, like I said, I'm open-minded as hell. I grew up. I went to school for engineering. Went to school multiple times. Minored in physics each time. So with a background in physics, I like to think that I have kind of a good understanding about the universe. But again, this is science, this is math. We are constantly learning, constantly exploring, and we are fools to think that we know the secrets in the universe. We are absolutely ignorant if anyone thinks they have the answers.
Absolutely. Our poll just came back 50-50. Level 610 True Earth. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming back by. To answer this comment that we just had, I am a true earther. I do not believe in the spinny ball lie that is sold to us from as soon as we're old enough to go to school. It's absolutely crazy. But again, level 610, welcome.
Hey, it's nice to see you again. It's fantastic. I've been wanting to see you because you're very fair, and I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, this time we're gonna try not to. I'm gonna be a more strict moderator, so we're just not gonna be talking over people, which it's been so good so far. But
I promise to behave.
Awesome. I appreciate everybody following as well. I'm getting tons of new follows, so that's awesome. We're trying to do this at least I'm going to cut it back just a little bit because I realize it takes me like a whole day to process a video and post it. So I'm only going to do in probably 2 or 3 of these debates a week. So be sure to catch them. I'll try to keep people posted preemptively. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Welcome to the True Earth debate.
Can I speak, Troubling? Can I speak to Eric for a second?
You sure can.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing tonight?
Good. It's great that you're on here, sir. Hey, a couple things. I'm old enough. I'm old enough to have been in the den with my dad in July 20th, 1969, and patriotism, right? Patriotism. I mean, and you look back and you go, well, the flag was blown in the wind, and you look at the fact that the little moon rover suddenly appeared, just like the ISS suddenly appeared in the sky, in the 254 miles up. The moon rover just suddenly appeared. When you saw the moon rover going around, we're told that the moon's gravity is 1/6 that of the Earth's gravity, but when it was running around on the moon, the dirt that the tires brought up behind it just felt like it was on a beach in America somewhere. So it went up, but it went down just as fast as it was on the beach. It didn't linger around as if it had 1/6 the Earth's gravity. The other thing you have to remember is if you look at the top of the silver part if you look at the part where the silver was, then you have to kind of say to yourself, would you put yourself in that little silver moon lander and stick yourself in water with it? Would you feel safe doing that? And then obviously the shadows have already been brought up, and you have to realize that Michael Collins on the August 12th, 1969 press conference, Armstrong was asked if he saw any stars, and he said no. Michael Collins, who was supposedly revolving around the moon in his little spacecraft, said he didn't see any stars either. But he wrote a book later on and said yes, he saw stars. And my last point, Apollo 10, that went up in May of 1969, supposedly went around the moon 31 times, and no Earth's gravity, no sunlight in the way, and not one time during 31 times around the moon did they take a picture of the stars from the dark side of the moon. The best time in the history of mankind to take pictures of the dark side of the moon, but they never did.
I hear you. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and stop you there. Because with camera, we have exposure.
One second, Eric. Before you address the point, Mike, welcome to the show, man. I've seen some of your stuff. Glad to have you on.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on? We'll get to you here in just a second. I'll let Eric address True Earth here, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, if I may continue that point real quick. Well, like I said, we have different exposures on camera, on cameras, and the stars may not show up depending on the exposure that was selected. But I've already admitted, at the time during the Cold War, absolutely, it makes sense for us to fake the moon landing. So let's move beyond that. And as a engineer, I like to look at the mathematics and how the math adds up and how
I'm
we're
getting a lot of echo.
predict eclipses with the heliocentric model and the tides. However, the flat model fails to do that. That's really the only problem that I'm having these accurate predictions, like with the heliocentric model. So I'll rest my case on that. I'll let you guys speak.
Eric, if you go to my TikTok page, November 1st and November 3rd, I did videos of the lit part or the illuminated part of the moon not pointing towards the sun. It is a video. I took it just about an hour or so ago. Then I took it 2 nights ago. And so if you look at that, you can clearly see that the sun is self-illuminating. And we don't know everything about the sky. So when you talk about lunar eclipses, we don't know everything about the sky. But if you look at my video, November 1st and November 3rd, that should help. It's not a still picture. It's actually a video. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Eric.
Hey, Greg, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, Greg.
Mike, you've been waiting for a little bit, man. What you got for us?
What's up, guys?
I don't know. I mean, I guess with me, man, it's pretty simple, dude. I keep it, to observable science. I don't, I love theories and all that stuff. I love conversation, but facts are observable science, man. For me, no curve has ever been measured. No motion ever been detected. Einstein admits this. In basic physics, you cannot have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier, which we are told that the heliocentric model, the only way it's kept together is gravity, and that's a theory, man. It's unproven, and we can explain the law of attraction, which I think the gravity and the law of attraction get mixed up a lot, and the law of attraction is a law. Gravity is a theory, and we can demonstrate
Excuse
the law
me.
of attraction
excuse me,
through
but gravity,
incoherent
gravity is
dielectric
a law.
acceleration.
Gu-
What was that?
Newton's gravity is a law.
Well,
Einstein's
no,
theory of
that's false.
relativity
No,
is a theory.
that's false, buddy. The law of attraction is a fact. Gravity's a theory. Gravity's never been proven. The law of attraction can easily be explained and then demonstrated through observable science, the scientific method. Unlike gravity, is incoherent dielectric acceleration or
All due
incoherent
to respect,
electrostatic acceleration.
all due to
One and
respect,
the
though,
same.
here on Earth, gravity is recognized as a law. The
No, it's
Newton's
not. No,
law of
that's false,
gravity on
buddy.
Earth,
No. Hey, buddy,
9.88
I
per
just want to make
second,
sure
got
everybody understands
universal
that what
gravity.
he's saying is a complete and total lie. You can Google this, and the top search comes up and says gravity is a theory. It's the law of attraction that's a law, buddy, and you are completely confusing the two, or you are purposely ignoring that and spewing nonsense. That's your choice, and I'm not here to argue about it, brother, and I'm not going to. I was interrupted rudely, as I always am. And again, everything I'm talking about will be demonstrated through observable science. Everything he's talking about will just be a theory and a cool story in a book. Point blank, period, dude. The law of attraction is not gravity. Point blank, period. Again, if you can prove it, I'd love to see it. I want the demonstratable science. Talking's cool, man. I love conversation. I love theories, all that stuff. Observable fact, observable science is it's facts over feelings, man. We don't really care what you think or what you want to happen. We're going off what is happening, and again, everything I just said can be observed through observable science, repeated, measurable, repeatedly, over and over. Everything
Well,
you just said,
again,
I can hear about, and
9.88
it
per
sounds great,
second.
but
That
you
is
will not be able to repeat it. So show me the experiment, man.
9.8 on Earth.
No, I
We
got you.
have
That's the law. I got you 100%, dude. Which incoherent dielectric acceleration fully compensates for and explains and demonstrates through observable science. Now, how do you explain that? Gravity. I want to see gravity explain 98% because I can have incoherent dielectric acceleration explain that. Eric DeBay's done it multiple times, dude. I mean, he has formulas. He has observable science. Any way you want it, brother. Any way you want it, he's got it. It's on videos, man. You don't have to trust me. You don't have to believe anything I'm saying. I'm just trying to point you in the direction you should be looking. Unless
Okay.
you're not looking,
Okay, I mean that's fair. So what are these formulas, and could you point me in that direction?
Yes, Eric Dubay, dude, 100%. Again, he has multiple videos, some that are just demonstrating through observable science, and some that he has literally made equations that are provable. Again, with the law of attraction, the 9.8 seconds per second, whatever the fuck, it's all there, dude. You can see it. It works out in formula, it works out in math, and then it works out in demonstratable, observable science. Yours works out in math formula and textbooks, but then there's no observable, demonstratable, repeatable of science that anyone and everyone can do. That's the issue.
Mike, I would actually just add on to that actually the math doesn't even work. That's why there's the crisis in cosmology right now, and that the gravitational formulas aren't creating the correct numbers for what we're observing for the distant galaxies. So I just like to throw that in there.
I do agree, and that's where relativity was brought in. Mass attracts mass. It makes no sense. If that was true, why does the moon have any effect? Which, I mean, just so you know, it doesn't. But, if we're going off that basis, why would the moon have any basis off of our tides or grav, right? Tidal nodes, which are points or geometric points on Earth that are not affected by the tides, period. So certain places like that, I mean, it proves that it has nothing to do with gravity. If it's the moon or the sun, it could be diamagnetic, whatever. There could be things like that, whatever. It's just, we can prove it's not gravitational. Now there's a lot of questions. No one's saying there's not questions, brother. There's tons of questions, dude. That's kind of our point. At $65 million a day for over 70 years, we shouldn't have nearly as many questions as we do. The taxpayer dollars have more than enough compensated for the experiments needed to do these. These are very basic, cheap experiments. We don't need to spend trillions of dollars to get these things done. So to sit behind weird explanations and deflection, lies, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. For me, it makes no sense. These are very basic, simple experiments that should be very simple, man. No one's asking for things that can't be demonstrated.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to quote Newton just here for a second, if I could. And this is one reason why I desired you would not ascribe innate gravity to me. That gravity should be innate, inherent, and essential to matter, so that one body may act upon another at a distance through vacuum without the mediation of anything else, by and through which their action and force may be conveyed from one to another, is to me so great an absurdity that I believe no man who has philosophical matters of competent faculty of mind can ever fall into it. Gravity must be caused by an agent acting consistently according to certain laws. Newton wanted nothing to do with gravity, and so in 1915, somebody saw a star through an eclipse, and they came up with the bending and warping of space-time to explain why you could see a star through an eclipse. And that's what Einstein took, even though Einstein stole it from Poincare, Poincare. And so now we have the bending and warping of space-time, which nobody understands. And gravity is only used out in outer space to tell why planets attract one another. So gravity as a downward force, mass attracts mass, has been gone since Einstein, 1922.
Now, True Earth, man, real quick, just to touch real quick, just so you know, I mean, everything you said very well stated. Now, my only question, the only thing I want to add to that, right, is even that's where the relativity came in, right? Is even the gravitational, the mass, it didn't correlate, right? It didn't make sense, because then we would all be pulling into the sun, right? Slowly over time.
Yes.
There's a lot of questions. Now, that's all I'm going to put in. Go ahead.
No, you're awesome. And Mike, I've listened to you, and you're great. Thank you.
Actually, just to add a little bit more clarity, because this is one subject that I actually have done a little bit of more direct research on, and the relativity came out, according to Einstein, a direct result of the null result of the Michelson-Morley experiment, where they were attempting to detect the Earth's motion through the aether, through space. And according to the notes, they basically, had one of two conclusions to reach. Either there was something causing them not to be able to detect the motion, or we just weren't moving. And this was later, they later did another experiment called the Michelson-Gale experiment, where they were able to detect a little bit of motion, and then they attributed that to special relativity, which had already been created, as Einstein said, as a result of the original null result. So relativity was really to explain, like True Earth was saying, that bending space-time, you actually have to believe that the length of the arm that was measuring,
yes,
you have to actually believe that this contracted, versus, and that we couldn't see it or tell it because the entire space of existence contracted. Or you can believe that the experiment just showed that the Earth wasn't the thing in motion in space.
Now,
Can
real
I
quick,
ask y'all's opinion on Kepler's law? Opinion on laws?
I've looked into it recently, but I am not well versed enough to debate you in it or to debunk it. With the information I saw, I wasn't, it wasn't enough to kind of swing me towards that being any type of globe factual proof. But again, I am not well versed enough to comment on that experiment.
But then again, this is a law, not a theory, though.
I got you. No, I've heard it, but Yeah, I've looked into it and I wasn't impressed. But again, I didn't. It was very quick.
Fair enough.
I did not look into this enough to have any sort of
Fair enough. I'll
real
drop it.
context or comment. No, don't drop it. I mean, fuck no, don't drop it, bro. I mean, if it's fucking real and it's, everybody look into Kepler. I've looked into it some again, over 2 years, bro. There's been so many points that again, I can't be, I work full time. I'm in school full time. I have 4 kids. So it's tough to fucking, memorize every single goddamn thing that's said. Do not, don't fucking ignore it. Go look into it for sure. I remember hearing the name and not being impressed, but that doesn't mean anything. I encourage everyone to look and do their own research on every single topic, experiment, theory, whatever the fuck it is.
Thank you for that, at least. Thank you for that. Like I said,
Oh, dude,
I'll shut
man.
up for a
Hey,
minute.
man, brother, I'm going to let you know, other than 2 years ago, never questioned it a bit, or thought about nothing I'm talking about now, dude. I was one of those fucking morons that thought I was super smart, and it's just what it is, dude. As I'm learning I'm smart because I know I'm not, dude. When I hear someone that is smart and I look into their theories, their facts, their information, and then I verify it, I look into it, I fact check some of the things they're saying. That's when I start to build a, I guess you'd say a trust in certain people's information. Yeah, dude, like I said, man, I'm in school, bro. I want to do my own experiments. I want all my own proofs. I'm not financially at that point that I can do that. I'm going to school while working so I can earn that financial freedom to do that. But I will tell you that there are a lot of people doing this, and a lot of the experiments that I'm coming across are not one source experiments. They are multiple different sources coming up with the same information, the same numbers.
Well, here's an experiment we could probably do right here, right now. Do we have people that are in the room that are in the northern and southern hemispheres? Like, why do we have hemispheres? Why do we see different stars based on where we're looking?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with perspective and the just the resolution limits of our eyes. I mean, obviously we can't see forever. I mean, there are certain. I think there's a hallway. There's a certain hallway of a hotel. You can't even see the end of the hallway. I mean, we think we're going to see where the sun's going. I mean,
fair enough.
Again, as we all say, the sun's a lot bigger than we think. Well, then why the fuck do you think you can see where, that's where I'm at,
What about the Coriolis effect, though? I mean,
why does that only affect bullets that are in the air for seconds, but it doesn't affect helicopters, air balloons, airplanes that are in the air for hours, minutes, weeks? What about a sniper in a hot air balloon? Does he now have to?
Hold on.
Does he have to? That's a great meme. It's a meme, but the Coriolis is that snipers long distance shooting has to take in the spin of the earth as one of their many calculations. I mean, my father was in the military for 20 years, and I've talked to him about it. He said, listen, they teach some of that in the textbooks, but I've never had to actually do it. I've shot long. I've shot over a mile. I've never had to compensate for that. I took in atmospheric, the wind that's going on, the atmospheric, certain things like humidity or,
right.
Obviously distance elevation. But never spin of the earth. I mean, bullet drop, of course.
Yeah, so you don't
not
actually
spin of the earth.
Yeah, Mike. You don't even have to actually take in direction either.
Really, see now again. For me again, I haven't shot a long distance. Again, I'm going with a lot of my father. I've shot shorter distance and medium. I've never shot long enough to meet the marker for spin of the earth. But my father has.
I can't speak on that. So.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I personally can't either. My father has, which I will tell you. I mean, you can't. I mean, you can trust me all you want. I'm being a liar, motherfucker.
Okay.
Man, let's let old Greg speak, man.
Go ahead, Greg. Get it in, brother.
Yeah,
Greg got a lot of info, man.
Yeah, man. So I can only speak on my behalf of just being military. I was 4.5 years active duty Marines, infantry for hell yeah, 0311. And so like shooting's like my thing, right? And there are some guys that hop in these lives and they talk about the Coriolis effect and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a professional shooter and I do it for a living. And the fact of the matter is that the Coriolis effect is taught, and we're taught that as well. but it's never
Mhm.
it's never taken into effect, even with special forces, SEALs, Rangers, XYZ, whoever you want to talk about.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's preached about, but every time I taught the class, it's one of those that it's something that you can include in your PowerPoint. Goes down to it. If you're not going to take it into consideration, then there's no point of in the PowerPoint. So when I teach my guys how to shoot, I completely leave it out of the equation. And if dudes ask about it, it's pretty much like, well, you're not going to take it into effect. And then I've gotten into conversations as well, and I'm not trying to rant or anything like that. I'm just like letting you guys get a quick rundown that
No, I see what you're saying. You're saying it doesn't apply to everyday situations, and I respect that. But what about the law of conservation of momentum? Now that applies in everyday situations.
of momentum.
Explain to me.
Okay, well, people say that that water can't be contained on a spinning Earth, or that we can't be spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Because we can't be moved. But the law of conservation of momentum. Okay, so say you're inside an airplane and you jump
centrifugal
up,
force.
you're not going to go anywhere. But if you're in the back of a pickup truck and you jump up, wind resistance is going to hit you and put you right.
You kind of muffled.
Okay.
I'm not. Yeah.
Okay, so the
Yeah,
law
don't try to off yourself
of
with the pillow,
conservation
please.
of momentum, that basically says that if we're in an enclosed space, like say an airplane, and we jump up, we're going to continue with without any air resistance. We're going to continue with that airplane, and we're basically going to jump in place even though the airplane's moving. Correct? Now, say you're in the bed of a
Wait, what?
pickup truck
Say it
and you
again?
jump up and you're hit with wind resistance. Next thing you know, you're not going to be in the back of that pickup truck anymore, are you?
Hold on, so you're
But
talking
that's
about
because you're
windage and
outside of
resistance?
the. I don't feel like you're inside of if you're on the outside of a pickup truck, you are not inside of an enclosed system. I mean, like the whole. I understand the argument of a fly flying inside of
Earth is an
a
enclosed
car.
system, is it not?
Well, no, it is. What I'm saying, I'm not understanding what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Is that Earth is an enclosed system via our atmosphere.
Well, a guy feeling the wind off a truck. I mean, yeah, he's not gonna fly like he's hit by 1,000 miles per hour because he's not. He's hit by the wind of the the speed of the truck and the differential of the speed you're going. If you're going 1,000 miles per hour,
the point I'm trying to make. People are saying that we cannot be spinning at 1,000 miles an hour.
No,
go ahead.
Not saying that we can't. We're saying you need to demonstrate. Everything on the level can be demonstrated in observed science. I have no issue with the whole heliocentric model. Is don't just up there's the planets, we're in it. No, give me the observable model. Show me the curve like Fly McRoberts.
Exactly what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
he has the curve. Show me the 2 points of level where the Chicago skyline, right? But show me it on a model of a ball, and rather than just saying look at the Chicago skyline. Well, if we're a level plane, you would be able to see it just like if you're saying we're on a ball, but if we're on a level plane, so now recreate it. Create a ball where you're able to see the same distance to scale.
Should we not be able to go to the highest mountain with an extremely powerful telescope and see all infinitely around the Earth?
Well, yeah. I mean, if telescopes are allowed to see trillions of miles or light years away, but using the inverse square law of light, we can prove that that's not true. That the lights we see, I can see the stars with my naked eye. Well, we can prove through again the inverse square law of light. Every time a light doubles the distance, it gets a quarter of the brightness. So there's no way that something's light years away. I mean, it's literally scientifically provable and possible. So why would you think you could then on Earth that?
Eric, the inverse square law of light, what Mike was talking about, if we're 240,000 miles away from the moon, if we cut that in half to 120,000, the moon should be 4 times brighter. You cut it to 60, it should be 4 times brighter. You cut it to 30, it should be 4 times brighter. You cut it to 15, it should be 4 times brighter. So by the time you get to the moon, it should be as bright as the sun. Did the astronauts tell us that 1969 to 1972? No.
Run that by me one more time. I'm sorry. So the
Hey,
inverse,
Eric,
so
you
you say
don't,
with the
Eric, you
inverse
don't live
properties
on
of
Mars.
light, that the reflection should be brighter. That's what you're implying, if I understand correctly.
The inverse square law of light says if you double the distance away from something, it becomes 4 times less bright. If you half that distance, it becomes 4 times brighter.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
No, Eric, I appreciate you. You're really great. Hey, the globe people say that we are not an enclosed system. If you go up and up and up and up, the air gets less molecules, gets lighter, and sooner or
Yep.
later you'll be in the vacuum of outer space. Now they tell us the vacuum of outer space is 10 to the negative 17 torr, which is something we've never measured here on Earth. The best we've ever measured on Earth is 10 to the negative 6 torr. So for them to tell us 10 to the negative 17 torr is unbelievable because nobody's ever tested it here on Earth. And so the globe people do not say that we are an enclosed model. That's only the flat Earth people say that we're enclosed by something up there.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
I'm a believer in that it's enclosed via our sphere. I mean,
Can you explain how the
Now
atmosphere
that's what we're saying.
magically
You're
makes it enclosed?
You're halfway to flat Earth. You're halfway.
Eric, welcome to flat Earth.
We all thought the same fucking thing. What is going on? How the fuck are we on an unenclosed
Hey, hold on.
system, but yet
hey, this is
the
not
enclosed results?
man. I mean, I mean, you have some valid points.
Light real
I'll
quick.
give you that.
We don't want to be slaves, bro.
Fire away, old Greg.
Yeah. Hey, Eric. Hey.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really firing away. It just so the one thing you gotta understand too is like when a lot of like I don't really like using the word globers, but like indoctrinated, educated people from indoctrination, whatever you want to call it. It's when some of the math doesn't line up, and then when you were taught some of these things, and then some of these things are not taken into concept or taken into the fact. You know what I mean? Like, it's not you don't take it into
Well,
account. It's not
all due respect,
necessarily.
like I said, I went to school for physics. The math does add up on a lot of things. So
Well, the
I
math,
Not
respectfully
necessarily,
disagree
but
with
not
you.
the observable science.
Hold on, buddy. I'm still.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off. I'm
Can I-
sorry.
No. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. No. So I've talked to like lane players. I've talked to pilots. Because I was active duty and now I'm just reserves. Wasn't Marines, now I'm in the Army. So I still work with like pilots. I still work. I still have what do you call it? Like I still talk to people with
You have
more
communication.
knowledge than me
You have resources.
and communications. Yeah. And then it's just God. I gotta find my wording correct. So here, hold on. So what I was getting at though is that it's not exactly when like flat earthers, we're not exactly saying that it's flat. We're not saying that it's like um how can you
Flat's not a
say
shape; it's a descriptive word.
it could possibly yeah it could possibly be bigger than what we actually think, but what we're coming
Well,
to find is that it's not what they say. It's not being
It's not a
exactly
ball.
what we're taught,
okay.
and that's coming from when you actually go out and do the science and you actually go out and fly, or you look at the units, you look at the software, the hardware that you are actually using, um, it starts to make more sense if you use common sense, right?
Okay, I
And then
respect that.
I'm gonna stop right there, and then I'll let you guys kind of keep going.
Well, I respect what you're saying. However, you mentioned indoctrination earlier. Okay. The flat Earth belief, from the best I can tell, comes mostly from Christianity and quotes from the
False.
Bible. Would you not
Wait,
agree that
let me
that
stop
is
you
the
right
not
there,
focus on
Dude,
indoctrination?
I am
Not to cut-
anti-religion to the fullest, brother.
Okay, thank you for that, at
Eric,
least. Okay.
I do want to say, Eric,
To the
just so
fullest.
you know, that I do not classify myself as a flat earther, and I do lean towards the globe, but I think it's a little bit bigger or just not what we're told. So that's the only reason why I'm on the, I guess, flat Earth side, is because when you say, like I said earlier,
Everything
when
we
you say
can,
flat Earth,
everything
it's
we can
something
measure is
else.
level, point blank. Period.
Yes, it's there's more to the story than
There's no curve.
we're being told. And then so when I say indoctrination, I'm not. I don't want to like. I don't want to
Bro,
be
that's ego.
classified as
If
what
anybody
you're thinking.
if anybody gets upset with that, like that's ego, man. I was indoctrinated until I was 29. And then I started thinking logically. And that's all it was. Indoctrination just means that you are thinking within a certain sphere or a certain box. That's where the whole think outside the box comes in. You're inside the box.
Yeah.
Until you start thinking outside the box, that's all it is. Again, it could be a level pizza shape, it could be a level diamond, it could be a level sphere, it could be a level, bro. It's level, dude. It's not a sphere. I mean, a level circle, whatever. It could be level a lot of shapes. It's level. If you can show us curve,
Right.
if it's convex, concave, spherical, whatever the fuck curve it is, I mean, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Just show any curve, period.
Okay,
And
but we have with weather
How?
balloons. You guys
No,
say
no, no,
fish
no,
eye
no, no.
lenses, but you can actually
But-
look up what lens was used in some of these videos.
Yeah, but what do you mean? At what distance? Because we've been 121,000 feet with a regular camera lens. It's all level. It's all flat. And we're told by Neil deGrasse Tyson, an astrophysicist, one of the the talking heads of the globe, are oh, you could never see height. You could never see curve from that height. Well, so what height do we see curve from? Because I'd love to know the exact number that we see curve from.
Well, you've already mentioned perspective. I mean, yeah, that's a very good question. How far out do we have to go to get the perspective? But
we have the numbers. 24,000 miles in circumference, brother. 6-foot person at sea level has a 3-mile horizon, and not optical but physical, meaning you couldn't zoom anything back in because it's physical. I mean, I don't know what else to do besides take the liar's numbers. How do you prove a liar's lying other than taking the liar's lie and disproving that lie? Like,
well, I've seen a lot of people talk about how you can bring, like, say, a ship sailing into the distance on the ocean, how you can bring it back into view, but you never bring the bottom of it back into the view, do you?
Sure
Yes,
you
we do. Yes, we
Absolutely
do.
you Absolutely.
Multiple times, multiple different
Absolutely.
sources at
And you bring
multiple
the
different
water
locations.
in behind it too. Yep.
Do you have strip?
Yes,
Will somebody mind
will.
putting that up, please?
I will, 100%. Your name is Eric Noss. I will 100. I got 2 fucking pages, bro. I'll tag you in both.
Okay,
I
thank you.
think Mike would too.
No, I will damn sure fucking tag you in both. If I have them
Entire
posted, but
ship,
I will
though.
them
You're
just to
saying
tag
that
you.
once it disappears over the curve without
Now,
climbing
one is
to
right
a
here.
higher
Is that
distance.
serious? Real quick, I'm not even being a dick. One is right here. The host right here, troubling. He just put one up. Seriously, this is 1 foot off the ground, and we're seeing these platforms at 9.4 miles, and then not only that, but we're seeing the horizon past those, past the oil docks.
What's that proving right there?
That there's no curve. This is all right. Again, 6-foot person. So think about it.
9.1 miles. Let's extend that to 941 miles.
Well, now
say,
listen. Now
or
listen.
94
Well, yeah,
miles
but
even.
why? Because that's not the curvature formula. So why? Who the fuck would do that
Well,
besides
oh,
someone who's
okay,
doing
what
illegitimate
is
science?
the curvature formula? What is the
But
curvature
it's 8
formula?
inches per mile squared. Which, listen to me, like nobody's trying to trick you, brother. Listen to me. Right here it says observer height 1 foot. Correct. A 6-foot person should have a physical horizon, meaning no matter zoom in, I cannot zoom in the horizon because it's physical at 3 feet.
Do me a favor
miles,
and say the equation one more time. What is the
8 inch?
equation of the curvature?
All right. First off, the full circumference of the Earth is 24,000 miles. If you want to say 25,000, whatever. I don't give a shit. Makes the curvature formula 8 inches per mile squared. Okay.
You do know that formula comes from a flat earther, correct?
No, it does not.
No, it doesn't. No.
And you also realize that's a parabolic.
Hey, you give me
that is not a linear equation. That is not a linear equation.
Well, dude,
that is
you're
a
gonna say it's a
parabolic equation.
parabolic arc, dude. That's upon hundreds or thousands of miles. We don't need that. You got to understand, bro. Again, a 6-foot person, I'm 6'1", standing at the water has a 3-mile horizon. 3 miles. So the parabolic arc doesn't even come into play until 100 and some miles. 3 miles. That's 97 miles of fucking play, dude. There's no bullshit. We are 97 miles past what we need to be to prove it. There's no fucking miscalculation, dude. You can't miscalculate 97 miles and go, well, I'm close. No, bro.
Yeah, but if you're looking at it as a linear equation and not a parabolic one, absolutely. But
so what's the equation? And then not only, all right, so listen, so this is the problem, right? Again, over 100 years, and then for the last 65 years, we've had $65 million a day. Very simple. These are cheap. These are elementary experiments, okay? Can you show me that elevation curve, the 24,000 miles of circumference, in scale to a ball, and then show me the 6-foot person, 3-mile horizon to scale on top of to scale 24,000 mile ball. If you can do that, I would love to see that experiment right now. Or
Eric, where did you come up with a flat earther came up with the Earth curve calculator when land surveyors and mainstream science and NASA uses the Earth curve calculator? Where did you come up with the flat earther created it?
Let's see, that
surveyors use it. Surveyors.
Land surveyors
are all
use
surveyors
it in geodetic surveying. They use 8 inches per mile squared.
The actual formula for the curvature.
I'd love to hear it.
Hold on one moment.
Now, after I hear it, I want to then see it demonstrated in scale to the model of the globe, and then I'll be super sold.
Hold on, we do have to.
Eric,
we
at least running back to your globe, Eric. Don't run back to your globe, Eric.
We should.
Well, again, nobody's being rude. I want to make sure that I'm being very. Eric, bro, you've been awesome, dude. I'm not, again, I'm not being, I want you to understand, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not trying to be dismissive in any way whatsoever. What I'm saying is I like your thinking, but I would really, to make this a fact, we have to see it in observable science. So if you come up with a formula, that's awesome, dude. I love your formula. That's great. You're thinking. Now, it has to be shown and then proven through observable science.
Yeah, I think he's probably looking it up right now. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If the chat could talk for just a moment, is anyone familiar with this formula? If y'all would pause the chat for just a moment, please.
Yeah, real
That's up
quick,
to the host, man. Host has been awesome.
So everyone knows.
1 second.
Up to you, brother.
Yeah,
whatever your
land surveyors too.
I don't know how to pause it.
Guys,
no, it's up to you, dude.
Different things.
Yeah.
I'll mute myself.
I'm new to this shit too, so.
There we go. I'll repost it. There we go.
Yeah, if you could put the formula, dude, type it a couple times. And, if we don't see it, type it again. I mean, yeah, nobody's lying, brother. If I can see it, I will, fully do what I can. Again, I'm just sitting on a washing machine in my garage, so right now I can't test or demonstrate a scientific experiment at the moment. But again, if you could point me in the right direction of what you've seen or your experiment, I would love to to start my own experiment and try to get that done in the next couple of weeks.
Hey, Sean, no one's sleeping, bud. It's just Tribune. He has his microphone. I'm saying Tribune. When you exhale through your nose, it's like you're sleeping on your microphone just because your nose breathes down on it.
Yeah, y'all gonna let me go a whole hour into this.
Yeah, he thought
No. Hey, no, you're good, bro. Don't let these motherfuckers lie. You're good, dude.
No. Sean just thought
I didn't hear anything.
One of the guys on the side with us was like sleeping, or fell asleep on the phone.
And one for you to envy too, bro. One for you to envy. We can't just have all flat earthers, bro. That's the whole point, dude. we have to be able to speak to people who have different viewpoints so that we can, that's the whole point. If I'm just talking to flat earthers, what the fuck's the point? Just high five you and leave.
I don't know what that
troubling.
is.
I have no idea, man.
I'm pretty new to this still.
Could the host only do it?
You have to go into set, put your thing to grid rather than like on the layout. You have to select grid, I think, and then he can share like his camera.
Settings.
Is there grid or format, layout, whatever?
I don't see anything for the layout. Probably not in the settings. Give me a second.
Mine
We'll
said
find
like
it.
grid or whatever, and then I had to go over to grid, and then it allowed people to like share the screen with me up to 6.
Enhance, maybe? No. Jeez. If anybody in the chat can help me out, that'd be great.
Sean, what are you doing, bro? Help this guy. For fuck's sake.
Formula that I got here at 1 kilometer. This is how much curvature. 0.08 meters is about, yeah.
Hold on, you got to give us a second, man, because I'm trying to see some shit,
Hold on. So Eric, yeah, if you guys want to keep doing your thing, I'll talk to Eric.
Envy, bro. Come on, dude. Fuck.
Eric, does your formula work on a circumference of 24,901 miles?
To scale?
Yes.
Yeah. We don't want it to be scale to 24,000 miles in circumference.
I'd like it to be 39.
As far as I'm aware of, no one has tried to replicate that scale to my knowledge. I mean, I'll be more than happy to research that myself.
Well, my question,
I don't think
right,
anyone tried to replicate that scale, to be honest.
Yeah, that was my question. What the fuck? How is this not common day knowledge? I feel like this experiment should be everywhere, anywhere, all the time. Like,
if what you're telling us, Eric, is
question.
correct,
why is this a secret?
Is correct. The geodetic, the National Geodetic Survey would have it in there, but the National Geodetic Survey has inches miles squared, just like NASA and mainstream science uses.
But again, the miles squared, that when the flat earthers that I see try to put that into equation, I see them using that as a linear equation when you already established that it's a parabolic equation.
A parabolic question, the parabolic goes out to 1,000 miles, and I've never gone farther than 380 miles and looking at something. So
there's no need for parabolic.
Yeah, if you say parabolic, you're saying Earth calculator up to 1,000 miles, and we're fine with that.
Basically what he's saying is if you're talking about a parabolic arc, you're already disproving your own model instantly by saying that, is what he's saying.
Welcome to Flat Earth, Eric.
Yeah.
Please elaborate on that. How does that disprove? Because a parabola is an arch, right? I mean, it's curved.
So what would you say the geometric? This is just the geometric, formula for a fucking sphere, dude. We're just taking it to the sphericity of the Earth. There's this isn't new math. This isn't like flat earthers came up with this
as a linear equation. Why do it as a parabola at all?
Eric,
linear?
if I may, the reason why it doesn't really matter is because if the Earth isn't curving in that little part of that would-be parabola, then it's just not curving. It's not even curving to the parabola. What makes us think that it's going to curve even more to the sphere? When you line up the equations of the amount of curvature that we're supposed to see up against the other equations that you would use, and there's a glober who did this called I Can Science That, who did this, and it actually challenged everybody who did say that the 8 inches per square mile was incorrect to issue retractions because unfortunately for the globe side, it is correct. And as these guys are saying, it's correct up to 1,000 miles. We're not making any observation further than 1,000 miles. So
Okay, but 1,000 miles—that's a lot of perspective there. You know,
Yeah.
you're kind of getting into the Schrodinger.
Well, that's what we're saying. We
concept
only
here,
need
you know?
3 miles, buddy. You're talking about 1,000 miles. You're 997 miles more than we fucking need. What are you
Again, the
talking
Earth
about?
is huge. You know, you're talking
Yeah,
about
dude,
a
it's
quadratic
24,000
curve. I
miles
mean,
in
are you going to be able to see that
So
curve
hold
over
on,
3 miles?
we're getting kind of off the point of it. The point is that according to the math, with 4 different equations, 4 different ways to calculate the curvature, not just the parabolic calculation, they all come up with the same numbers. And the parabolic equation specifically works all the way up to 1,000 miles. So when we're looking at an observation, for example, the one that I posted here with an observer height of 1 foot and the platform there, the horizon actually being clearly further than 9.41 miles, this is against all of the equations. Every equation that was there, besides the ones that take into account superlooming theoretical refraction, which is really just a reification fallacy. When you actually look at these equations, this right here behind me doesn't work for any of them. So
Okay, I get what you're saying, but again, we're coming back to Schrodinger's principle here and the power of observation. Now, obviously, we cannot observe 1,000 miles. We just can't see that far. So we have to. We're basically
every
making
option
assumptions
says
on
level.
what
What
we
would make you
cannot
think
observe.
globe?
I'm glad you acknowledge that we can't see forever, and the having you bring up the Schroeder effect is really elating, because a lot of Globers don't even know about that, and they think that we should be able to see forever. My dad actually said, "Well, if the Earth is flat, then why can't I see England from a binoculars or a telescope across the ocean?" So I do appreciate you saying that. But again, the thing is that we're not talking about 1,000-mile observation. We're talking about a 10-mile observation, one that
Not
was
even.
actually done.
But that's my
And
point, though. You can't get the perspective based on our
How?
observation. It's impossible.
well, you're arguing against, just so you understand, you're saying that we would not be able to observe the spherocity. We're saying that the spherocity of the Earth needs to be demonstrated, but you're actually backpedaling and arguing for us that we're actually not going to see it.
Actually, I am to an extent. Yes, I am. I mean,
So what
absolutely.
the fuck?
But then why would we take the step instead of arguing against the observations, um, and away from things that can be proven? Why would we not accept what can be proven in front of us, which is that these oil rigs are on a flat, level plane 10 miles out?
But again, the Schrodinger principle. Without actually observing, we're just making assumptions. So
The host just fucking bodied you, bro.
no,
And I'm
respect,
sorry,
man,
you've
man.
been really
I can
awesome.
take it. I mean,
But you can't just say these are observations. No, there are facts, which facts over feelings. We don't, this is where you got to stop. We're not being rude to you, brother. We're being rude to the liars. These are the people who created the numbers, right? You didn't create these numbers, right? So nobody's being rude to you, dude. Like, we got you. What we're saying is, wake up, brother. The numbers, if you're going to give anybody the benefit of the doubt, it wouldn't be the numbers. It would be the human people observing and using scientific method, observable science. Why would you take why would you give the benefit of the doubt to the people that have been proven liars in multiple different aspects of life over time, repeatedly, but not the people who are literally going out and using observable science, using their numbers? Like, we didn't make these numbers up. My guy here didn't make these numbers up, dude. He's just fucking calculating them, and again, using the formula and the numbers given to us by the people who are telling us they know where we live.
Okay, are you familiar with where one of the flat earthers does the experiment and he goes out on a boat with the lasers and he's like, okay, so if there's no curve, then this laser should shine through these holes and should hit this
Are you talking
certain
about Behind
point.
the Curve, the Netflix documentary?
Interesting.
Maybe
That was
that
taken to
might be what
court
I'm referring to. I'm honestly not.
and literally, and I'm not being rude, but hearing you say that means you don't even know. this documentary was taken to court,
Well,
and
I
they
don't
asked for the
know. This is why
uncut copy, and they weren't given the uncut footage, dude. And that was David Weiss was a part of that documentary, dude. Like if anybody who's done any basic research knows that. And
Hey, I'm already. I don't. Why I'm here, and I am hearing you guys out, man. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude. I may have cut you guys off. I apologize. But be respectful and understanding from y'all standpoints, and see things from a different perspective. So,
I love.
No, I will say, Eric. Yeah, like
you've been amazing,
like I said,
dude.
Yeah, Eric. Like I said, I'm not. I can't classify myself as a whatever earther, but you know what I mean. It's just it comes down to let's just.
Old
figure
Greg
out
is a
science.
true earther.
okay, well, I'll go ahead and rest my case, and if somebody else would like to jump in, I'm willing to give up my spot. I've spoken my piece, and
Well,
I think
alrighty.
hold on.
Hey,
Here's
Mike,
the thing.
thank you, Mike.
I know
Thank
Globy
you.
wants to hop in.
Hey,
but I don't want
True
things
Earth,
to
bro.
come in
I
hot.
love your stuff, dude. If you ever want to get in my lives, bro, 100%, dude. I love your content, bro.
I think you're awesome, Mike. I saw you for the first time tonight before I came over to see my friend Troubling. So I'll definitely ask on when I see you again.
Oh,
Thank
cool,
you.
dude. Awesome, bro. I love all you guys. Man. Eric, just so you know, bro, you're ever. I love it, dude. I fucking love questions.
Eric,
yeah, you guys not attacking me too much. Y'all have probably been the coolest flat earthers I've actually had this discussion. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I can be a dickhead, dude, but you know what I mean. But it's all in good fun, bro. And we're here to learn, bro. You know what I mean? We're here to fucking learn, dude. That's what it is, bro. Some people are gonna be assholes, some aren't. Who the fuck cares? We're here to learn.
I get being a bit of a prick over something you're passionate about, and especially when someone is just absolutely unwilling to bend and see your perspective. I get that. I am trying to see your perspective, but I still have some of my own, foundation and well, brainwashing and indoctrination, if you will, that I'm trying to overcome. And
Nah, bro, you're doing exactly what the fuck you're supposed to be doing, bro. You're questioning the globe, you're questioning flat earth, and you want to know who you are, you want to know where you live, and you want truth, bro. And that's what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. That's what we're all doing. We just want you to know that we're not here to fucking
trust no one, believe nothing. Like, come on.
At the same time, man, we don't have to believe each other. We don't have to believe no humans. It's observable science. That's what has brought us together. It isn't my opinion. It's not Trouble's opinion, and it's not True Earth or Old Greg. Everything so far that we have found has been level and has brought us together, and we are finding new information. Now, I assure you, Greg has shown me some things. He found it. Dude, I'm going to tell you, Greg is finding his own information in Antarctica, involving the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. Like, dude, it's super impressive, bro. He's doing his own information. He's on here super humble. He hasn't said a word about it. I'm going to let you know. You need to go check it out. There's a lot of fucking information, man, that is just, it's icing on the cake. The cake is observable science. Icing is all the connections, the monetary, people, families, tying, businesses, corporations. That's all icing on the cake. That is not the cake. The cake is observable science, man. And you're on the right path, dude.
Eric, just remember.
I thank you guys for your time and consideration. Excellent discussion. I am willing to relinquish my position in the chat if someone else would like to step in. Or I'm down to help for me either way.
Hell yeah, Eric. Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely. I actually, we have Globy McGlodeface in the guest box, so we're going to go ahead and let him in.
Y'all have a good one. Thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you coming on.
I won't say nothing until I'm asked to.
No worries.
Eric.
Bye, y'all.
Later, bud.
I love you, Eric.
Love you too,
Super cool, dude. Super cool, dude.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's all about coming together, getting some information out here, sharing points across the aisle.
All right, let's get Globy in here. I'm going to disconnect. Bye, y'all.
All right, I'll see it.
Now, Mike.
All right, here we go. Globy, thanks for being patient, brother.
No problem. That was a great conversation.
Awesome, man. What do you got for us today?
I pulled out my telescope and I was gonna go check out the moon, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. And then I saw you guys on, and that derailed that whole thing.
That's
I
awesome.
can't with this motherfucker.
I really was gonna have some good old moon photography fun tonight.
Shut the fuck up.
Wait.
Hey,
Did I just come in here and you're already starting with the shut the fuck up?
Dude, I love you, bro.
Colby,
All right?
Colby,
Shut up.
Colby,
All right?
real
I
quick.
love you.
I just want everybody to listen and understand who started that right now. All right, cool.
All right,
Love you too,
Mike,
bro.
Hey,
all right?
hey,
Mike's
Colby,
a
real quick
dickhead,
though.
I know.
What up? Can you hear me all right, by the way?
You did shave your head. I believe it was for one of your family members, correct?
Are you fully bald?
No, I have a full head of hair. Thank you. I
Oh,
shaved my head
okay.
because my mother had
No,
was going through chemo.
You did shave. You did
Oh, wow.
shave, right?
Hey, my mom died of cancer, bro.
Who is
2
it?
months ago,
Your
man. So
mother?
that sucks, right?
Sorry to hear-
Cancer sucks,
sorry
but
to hear that.
look, there
Hey,
you go.
but it's iravoidable, dude. 100%.
Full head.
Change your diet, alkaline, water, and food, dude. Seriously. Fuck
No,
me.
so yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, respect, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I honestly, I like the bald head because it was freeing over the summer. I grew it back
That's ego
because
up
of
there.
I woke up, had to do nothing, but you know, I had to grow it back because too many of you
How'd
guys
you get your picture on camera? I want to be cuter than you. How'd you get on there?
too many of you guys were saying I was bald, so I had to grow it back to
You
prove you
are
wrong.
bald.
I am.
Hey, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right.
Guys, all you got to do is turn your cameras
Don't be
I
jealous,
don't know
Mike.
how to do it.
The camera. You got to hit the little multi-guest thing. Turn your camera on.
Let's see
Why
who's
do I
more
have to do
handsome.
that?
I can't do it for you.
Guys,
Oh my! We looked very much more similar when I had my head shaved. It was creeping
I'm
me
a
out a
little
bit.
cuter, but come on, I'm a little cuter. But
No,
yeah.
I don't think so, bro.
Hey, kid, stop it right now.
I don't think so.
I'm just
All right,
kidding. I'm
Troubling
joking.
Tribune, pull it up.
I'm joking. Stop that. I don't want to embarrass you.
Hey,
He's got good water going.
hey,
Come on, you don't even
troubling.
have good water. You're drinking tap water. You
Hey,
freak.
troubling poll between Mike and Globy. Who's better looking?
No, stop. Dude, I don't want to hurt his
Hey,
feelings.
Mama needs
Seriously,
dad.
he's
If
got
you're
the
still
weird-
watching, set the
Give
poll.
it, get it going, guys.
No,
Let's
he's
do it.
got the weird mustache. Seriously, all right.
Let's do it.
All right.
go.
No,
Let's
don't
do
do it. No, don't.
Just remember
No.
just remember one
I
thing.
think old Greg's the cutest, bro. I love you, dude. You got your hat. You're adorable.
My
Look,
name's
come on.
Greg too, so then I win as well.
Your name's Greg? Oh, I hate Greg. Fuck,
Yeah.
dude. I hate
Yeah,
Greg.
but your first name's Greg.
Fuck.
My last name's Greg.
No, you're
Yeah, that's right.
You're young Greg. He's old Greg.
That's right. Yeah, just remember when the poll starts, I have a full head of hair at 41 and Mike at 22 is bald.
Bald? No, that's
Alright,
my
this is how
choice,
I'm
though,
making
brother.
it.
That's my fucking choice, dude.
Oh, it's your
It's
choice?
the bald fade.
The bald fade. I like it. I like it.
Come on, dude. At least I'm choosing to be bald.
It's
Fuck.
called-
Now, my
it's called the
electrical
reverse
panel is
fade.
not great if you want to talk about that. I mean,
Well,
that's
now you
exposed
feel my
wires.
pain when everybody was saying
These
I
are
was bald.
exposed wires. You should be fucking calling NASA. You should be like, he's got
All right.
exposed wires. How's he getting his satellite data?
I don't know what that means, but you've been drinking tonight? I have been, so it might be a little
Maybe I've
rough.
had one. Maybe I've had one. Fuck off.
This might be a few right here.
I'm just
All right, let's
kidding,
start.
buddy.
Let's start with this funness. All right, let's do a poll. Let's poll the audience. Which one of these two pictures looks like there's heavy distortion going on? The one Troubling Tribune has in his background, which is this one.
Let's
Where the-
start a poll.
where the
Neither one of them
cranes-
should be fucking visible.
Where the cranes look like
talking about?
a funhouse mirror. This one. Okay.
Funhouse.
Is this one? Yeah. What is that? Does that look like a crane to you, Mike?
No, it looks. I don't know what the fuck. It looks like a weird. It looks like a fucking.
You're right. You don't know what that is. I'm going to show you what it is in a second. It's that.
So what?
So what? And look how much of it is
It's
hidden.
like NASA stuff.
You don't
So
think
which-
bro? You don't think if we had a P200 camera, we couldn't zoom in on that? If we had a P300?
Maybe if you had a P1
Yeah.
million, you can zoom in on it.
P1 million. It's coming
All right.
soon, brother.
Picture-
You're gonna
no, can-
fucking eat
all right,
your
Mike.
words, dude.
Hey, Mike,
That's
Mike,
not
I
gonna
know-
age well.
I know this hurt you just now, but like, just be
It
honest
didn't.
for a second.
It-
Which picture A,
Be honest.
picture A or picture B? Which one has distortion? By water and everything great. Or picture
Okay.
B, where you can see the whole platform and the cranes look like zigzaggy funhouse mirrors?
Yes. I
Okay.
would say this one looks like it has less refraction than the first one you showed.
This one has less than this one?
Yes. Now, my question is, what is
Wait,
the
less
timestamp?
refraction here? I just want to be
Well, hold
clear.
on,
You said
hold
less
on, hold
refraction
on.
here?
No, hold on. I will be real clear, and then I need you to be real
Okay.
fucking clear.
All right,
so
you
I'm
can be
gonna
real.
clear. I'm going to
Go.
say that right here. This looks like less refraction right here. I would like to know the times of each photo. Like, was the other photo taken at the same time of day, same time of year?
Can we be clear? You mean more refraction, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Being clear that you don't understand more versus less refraction.
What I'm yeah, all right, you're cute, bro.
All right. Well, we got to be on the same page if we're going to have a conversation.
You don't even understand what a curve is, bro. So how are you telling me about
I do. We're going to get to that in a second. So this is way more distorted than this, and this is showing us a blocked platform.
And it looks way farther out, though. Like
no, because this picture zoomed in. That has nothing to do with the refraction going on.
What's the distance of each picture? What's the
both of these were taken from
what line though? Like what
shoreline? It was about 9.6 miles to this platform from the shoreline.
9.4, and then but what I'm saying is you're just showing me two pictures going, which one's distorted? I mean, that don't mean shit to me, dude.
It does, because you guys all use this as proof that there's no Earth curvature.
Because you just show two random pictures and go, which one's more distorted? That doesn't mean shit to me, dude.
I know it doesn't mean shit to you because you're not looking at the whole picture. You just want to believe what you want to believe.
No, I believe
you want to beat up on a glober who doesn't understand what's happening.
No, you work for NASA. You're pretty smart.
No, I don't. I do work for a top six. I do work for a top 6 defense contractor, but not NASA.
Exactly. So you're smart enough to understand basic math, right?
You're right, and you don't, because you would understand that this is not a normal day. This is not a normal day. Would you agree this is not a normal day? Like when you look at this platform.
I have no idea. I have never taken a picture of the blackbird. I have no idea.
Do you think looking at an oil rig from the shoreline with your eyeballs, it would look like this on a normal day? Or would it just look like this?
Now, zoomed in or not zoomed in?
Doesn't matter zoomed in. Look at the shapes of the platforms.
If it was fucking zoomed in on a level plane, I think, it could fucking look like that.
So you wouldn't see this.
No, you can see what you're seeing on the left on a level plane.
You think your eyes would see this?
No, I'm saying you can see both depending on refraction, atmospheric opacity, humidity.
You're right.
It wouldn't matter, bro.
On a heavily refracted day, you would see this. On a heavily refracted day, you would see this with all the distortion. You're right.
No, what I'm saying is you should never be able to see this on a globe, no matter what the distortion is. That's
Why
what I'm
not?
saying is because distortion is optical. It ain't physical. You can't distort the ground. How many times have you distorted the ground, bro? To where now you can all of a sudden see China.
You don't think if you don't think if the light bending off of this lifts this platform up, it can't bend.
Bro.
You think it can't bend the light off of the horizon upward as well?
No, I think light can bend down. So you don't think the light refraction come up and make what are you talking about? It's optical.
I don't know. You're gish gapping.
This is optical. This has nothing to do with physical. You're talking about physical horizon. This is
no. What I'm talking about is evidence, right? If you're going to look at a picture.
Evidence.
Hold on. Troubling Tribune has this in his background, right? So if you're going to use this as evidence that the ball Earth is not valid because there's distortion, if you're going to use that as evidence, why would you pick this heavily distorted picture versus the normal not distorted picture? Why would you choose this one over this one?
How zoomed in is your non-distorted picture? What's the zoom
I can find you a more zoomed in one if you want.
No, I just want to know what that zoom quality is.
Do you think zooming in, do you think if I zoomed into this, it would look like this?
I want to know what the zooming quality is.
You think if I zoomed in here, it would distort it to make it look like that?
I'm going to be honest with you, Globey. I don't fucking know what it would do. I just want to know what the zooming quality is, because you're posting a picture that you know is true. So
this is taken from a video. I can find the video.
Yeah, exactly. So find me. I would love to know the elevation, the fucking zoom quality.
It was taken on the shoreline.
If I may.
I got you. I'm just saying.
So if I may, I'll go ahead and jump in for a minute, because I know a little bit about this picture, and I think I got a pretty good explanation, just to be quite frank. Now, Globey, you've actually said in my live a couple times now that the refraction we're seeing, the fact of it bending, the light bending up over the curvature of the horizon, is in fact an assumption.
Something happened to your audio.
I heard you.
It's just very faint. Am I the only one?
Yeah, no,
It's
I
because
heard him. I heard him
he took his
clear.
headphones off.
Can you hear me?
He took his headphones off with the microphone.
Oh, it's very echoey.
1 second.
God damn it, troubling.
Supposed to be a connoisseur of
Hey, Globe,
technology.
you lied to
over
me
here.
the other day, dude, and I'm upset about it. That's why you're blocked. But go ahead and talk to
All right.
Wait, which part did I lie to you
No,
about?
you
For a second.
Be quiet. You talk trouble.
You brought it up.
No, you're in the
I
corner.
didn't bring it up.
Mic check.
You're
Mic
good.
check.
You're
Mic
good,
check,
Troubling.
1 2.
You're good, Troubling.
Yeah, you're good.
Much
You're
better.
1 2.
You sound good.
1 2
First,
3.
Oh, yeah.
first flat earther I converted. Mic check 1 2.
Over. Over.
Good
All
guy.
right. So now I actually think I have a pretty good explanation for this thing. Now, Globy, what I was saying was that you've actually been in my live a few times, and you have acknowledged that the superlooming refraction, the magical bendy light up over the physical horizon, is indeed an assumption. Correct?
Well, no, it exists. How to calculate it is an assumption. Yes. I don't think anybody disagrees that refraction exists, right?
Correct. So we definitely can acknowledge that light can. Unless you're just disingenuous, light bends. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just
bends.
it happens.
Why's Mike shaking
however-
his head like I
It does.
disagree?
No, it does.
Fucking super bends.
So
Yeah,
here's what I
bends.
have not seen though. So we've seen light bending in the water going down. We've seen it like bounce between different medians. What we've not really seen is we have not really seen exactly what superlooming refraction claims to be, and that is light actually bending up over a physical obstruction. And so when we see this, the fun house, as you like to refer to it, the fun house oil rigs,
Right.
to me, that indicates nothing more than it's a hot day, and we're seeing heat waves bend the light a little bit. It's nothing more than when I see. It's nothing more than when I look outside on a hot day and I see heat waves coming up off my car. I can still see the things behind the heat wave, even though it's a little distorted. I would not say that things that were blocked by an obstruction would all of a sudden be visible because of this heat wave. Now, I did ask. I'm trying to remember the name. It's rude now. I feel bad. Bedazzle. That was the one. Because Bedazzle said that he actually had a demonstration of that, and he showed me an example of some gas tank. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was really cold, and they had a color clay tower, and they were able to just barely get the tiniest bit of this little color that was just barely under the thing to be visible.
Right,
And
I've seen
so,
that.
yeah, but what we're talking about here is we're talking about light bending up, at best case scenario, several feet, and at worst case scenario, some miles in some scenarios.
We're
So
talking
I just,
about a global scale, right? We're not talking a little experimental scale, right?
sure.
Okay, so
Well, I'm merely saying that I've not seen light be able to bend up over, feet of obstruction.
Period.
I've seen it be
you're-
able to go over like the tiniest little sliver, like probably not even a millimeter of obstruction. But I've not seen it go more than that.
okay, so neither of us or nobody on this panel is going to say they can measure the refraction occurring in these pictures, right?
You cannot. Exactly.
Right. So we can agree on that, right? So my question is, why would you take the distorted picture and claim that as a normal day reality when that's clearly not a it's not a day where the atmospheric refraction or the distortion of the heat is minimal. It's clearly elevated
I
because
think
of all
what
the
we're
distortion
saying is
going
that
on.
this is a picture or a photograph that is taken that it wouldn't matter the distortion. You can't prove, it wouldn't be above the curvature. There's no, this is well beyond
Says
the
who?
curvature. This isn't, what do you mean? What do you mean?
What do I
It says
mean?
the
I mean,
math,
says who?
right? The formula.
So you're looking at
It
this
is just per
picture.
mile squared. What are you
You're looking
talking
at this
about, dude?
distortion picture and saying,
Distortion.
I don't care how much it's distorting based on the
So
heat
what I'm
or
saying is
whatever.
how
There's
many
no way it
pictures?
would be.
Because again, there's over 200 proofs.
You're-
There's over
you're-
200 of these pictures, bro.
You're
You're acting
saying-
like this is the only picture that exists. That's
Mike,
like
I
this,
didn't
and
bring up
there's
this
no
picture.
other picture.
I didn't bring up this picture.
No,
this
I
is
got
a flat
you.
earther picture.
What I'm saying is, it's regardless. It wouldn't really matter who.
No,
the
it,
fuck
it
brought
does
it up,
because
right?
your refraction falls apart in every one of those arguments. There's no point in
Wow.
there's no point in arguing about a picture
Wow,
that's
dude.
that has
Guys,
heavy
we're on a ball.
distortion, is it? Is
we
there
got proof everywhere that
why-
we're not on
why-
a ball, but it's all refraction. We're on a
why-
ball.
Why are we talking about a picture that shows heavy distortion? Why are we talking about that? What is that going to prove on
Because you
either
won't
side?
talk about any of the 200 that don't. You just say, nope, don't exist.
Well,
What
it
do you mean?
proves.
Show me
it,
one. I'll talk about it. Show me what you're talking about. I'll talk about it.
Oh, man, dude.
Well, it proves.
You've never heard of Eric Dubé, have you? Yeah, I'm sure you've
Eric
never heard of any
Dubé?
of his.
Are you going to quote Eric Dubé's 200 proofs of garbage?
Yeah,
Is that what you're going to do?
100%.
Okay, so go
Now,
pick one.
no. Don't
Go
tell me to
pick
pick
one,
You
the
go
200.
disprove all 200.
I-
I'd love
I-
to see you disprove all 200.
They have been many times, and I've done a bunch of them on my page
when?
as well.
When?
I didn't do all 200 because they've been done 1,000 times already.
Yeah. Oh,
But go
shut
pick
up,
one.
dude.
We'll talk
Yeah,
about it
you
live.
showed me water sticking to a spinning ball, bro, and it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my
Well,
life.
let's
Like,
talk
anybody
about
who
it
believes
then. Why
that's
is
a
it
fucking
dumb?
moron.
Why is water stuck to a ball dumb? Go ahead.
When did you prove water sticking to a ball in scale to spinning at 1,000? When did you prove that, dude?
I did it in my bathroom the other day.
No, yeah, sounds cool, bro.
Okay,
No,
sounds
you
cool.
didn't.
So I took a ball and
No,
I wet
you
it,
didn't.
right? I wet it. So the ball wasn't wet. Let's start
That's
with
not
that.
what we're
Was the
talking
ball
about.
wet?
We're not talking about. Dude, like, if you don't understand how deceptive that
No.
experiment is, I don't
No.
really know what to
Assume I'm
say to you.
stupid. Explain to me how it was a bad demonstration. Go ahead. I'd like to improve my demonstration next time. So explain to me how. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am right now.
Go ahead. Okay, so go.
I'm explaining.
And go.
I wish people wouldn't do that stuff to people and go. It's like we're robots or slaves.
Excuse me.
It's all just nonsense,
He's
bro. We
claiming
can all
my
be stupid.
demonstration
We
was
can
piss
all
poor.
be fucking morons, bro.
Mr. True
It's very
Earth,
simple.
he made the claim that my demonstration was shit. Okay, so I'm asking him to
What I'm
explain
saying
in
is you didn't prove
detail
anything.
how.
You still didn't prove anything. How did you prove anything?
How
that
was-
you proved anything?
All I proved was that water can
No, you
conform
didn't.
to the convexity of a ball
No,
and
false.
spin with faster acceleration than the Earth spins. That's what I proved.
False. No, you didn't.
Okay, so then how did I not prove that? Be specific.
Well, how did you prove it? Let's just start there. How did you prove
Okay,
it?
the ball was wet completely. It was
No,
to scale with the depth of the ocean, which is 12,000 feet on average. That scales down to a ball I used, the size of the ball I used, to 0.06 millimeters of water depth. That's all I need on that ball to scale it to the ocean size of Earth, okay? So that's very, very tiny. It's so tiny, 0.06, okay? So it was wet, and I spun it faster than the Earth spins, okay? I proved it. There you
Dude,
go.
No.
Yeah.
You didn't, bro.
Okay, so I spun the ball. I measured how fast I was spinning the ball by a mark on the wall, and I spun it, and I counted the revolutions per second. Okay? I used that and the radius of the ball to determine the centripetal acceleration of the ball. The centripetal acceleration of the ball was 12 meters per second squared. 12 meters per second squared, okay? The Earth's centripetal acceleration is 0.034 meters per second squared at the equator. 0.034. That's because centripetal acceleration is a direct relationship to the inverse square of the radius of the Earth. And the radius of the Earth is very huge. So that makes the acceleration very tiny. Okay? And acceleration is what the spinning acceleration is what would throw the water off the ball if it was spinning fast enough. That's the force that would throw the water off the ball. So I spun that little ball with 400 times the acceleration that the Earth experiences. Okay, so now I just explained to you what I did in my experiment. So now explain to me how it was a joke.
I think it's a non sequitur, but go ahead, Mike.
It's not, he
No,
brought
dude.
it up. It's not a non sequitur.
No, there was no. What are you talking about, bro? There was. Dude, I want to see an experiment. Dude, you showed a little ball that you said was wet. Bro, I didn't see any sort of water, formation of water that was spinning on your ball that stayed in formation of water while going. We're talking about oceans of trillions of waters. As you talking about, you just spun a ball that you just said was wet. So you could literally just moisten a ball, spin it, and go, look, up, there it is. I filmed it. There it is. It's right there. It just spun with water on it. Dude, nobody's saying that you can't spin a ball with water on it. Dude,
No,
you
you
did
are
not
saying
spin
that. You do say that. You say water cannot stick to a ball that's spinning. You say
Yes,
that.
stick to a ball that's
Okay.
not spinning, bro.
That's spinning. Okay.
Dude, sewing a ball with moisten is not a ball with water with trillions of pounds of water. You did not show the.
Okay. I'll
Bro,
try again. Mike, I'll
I
try
would
again.
love to
The
see it.
ocean's depths are 12,000 feet on average. I'll show you the math now that scales it down to a ball the size I used. It's 0.06 millimeters is all I needed. The depth of the water on the ball, 0.06 millimeters. It's all I needed to be scaled to the depths of the ocean on Earth.
Hey, Globey, can I ask you a question while Mike is working on his answer?
Sure. Yep.
Do you believe that refraction bends light around a ball of 3959 miles?
I believe refraction does bend light, and I believe it does lift and move things around slightly.
Does it bend light around a ball of 3,959 miles?
Not like on the other side of the ball, 180 degrees on the other side of the ball. No, it moves the horizon slightly, which is what we're seeing in this black swan picture of the platform.
So
that,
on the globe, Globey, on your globe, you have an actual geometric horizon, or do you have an apparent horizon?
There is a geometric horizon, of course. Now, that is about 3 miles away from a 6-foot observer at sea level. That horizon will shift and become an optical horizon based on the refraction going on that day. And it moves back and forth slightly past that geometric horizon.
I totally agree with you that on the globe it becomes an apparent horizon, because you can always say that it's not a geometric horizon or an actual horizon. You can say it's an apparent horizon. Now, I'm not saying you're saying this, and you've always been real nice to me. Thank you. If you say it's an apparent horizon, Globey, then you're making a flat Earth argument.
How is that a flat Earth argument?
Because flat Earth, the flat Earth argument, we never see an actual horizon. It's always apparent, and
it's true.
It can change from hour to hour, day to day.
There would be no horizon on the flat Earth, right? It would move all the time.
Exactly. But I hear some. I'm not saying you. I'm not going to try to strawman you.
Sure.
You're saying that yes, we have a actual geometric horizon, 3 miles of 6 feet observation height, but it can change and be more apparent and not be an actual or geometric one. So how? I asked this question the other day. Forgive me for talking here. I asked this question the other day. How do I know if you're at a 3 miles of 6 feet observation height, and you have a certain amount of refraction? Does it take it back to 3.14 miles, 3.5 miles, 4 miles? Where does it take your actual geometric horizon back to?
Well, I mean, it depends on you. So if you're doing an observation, if you really want to do it correctly, you'd have to take temperature readings at various heights above the water. If you're doing it over water, right? You have to take various temperature readings throughout the entire distance between yourself and where you're looking. Okay, it's complicated. It's not easy to do.
How do you measure that?
How do you measure that? Well, you can only do types of measure, like. So FE Core did some laser experiments over a lake, right? And they took some temperature measurements, right, at where they were shooting the laser and where they were reading the laser, right? That's all you can really do. I mean, how many measurements can you take, right? So you take a bunch of measurements.
I will say this, Globey. Now, whether you agree with it or not, at the end of their 7th experiment, they gave, over 40 kilometers, 25 miles. They gave the amount of refraction that was there that was kind of minimal. And so obviously they had a 9 feet observation height and a 6 observation height, 15 feet. And they found out it was 273 feet of curve that should have been there, but that the lasers saw each other.
Yeah, so I have a big problem with that whole FE Core laser test. Like,
and then we get the
go into it if you want.
Test in 2021, 18.8 miles, 5 feet observation height on both. It should have been 148 feet worth of curve. It was 34 degrees. It was a perfect day over ice, or as perfect maybe you can get. And it was supposed to be 145 feet, and they saw each other.
Okay, so that the FE Core test. They used uncollimated lasers.
That's cool.
Well, dude,
Why
I
would you
find
do?
it
Why would you do a
interesting
laser
right
test
here.
and
Well,
not
I
use
find it
a
interesting, dude,
collimated
that
laser?
you've proven spin it, the the spin of the Earth. So Einstein says that there's no optical experiment. He's come to realize there's no optical experiment that can prove spin or curvature. Yet somehow you, with a little ball and just some water, you've proven it instantly over Einstein over hundreds of years. You decades.
Ein-
You instantly proved it with your experiment, right? I just want to make sure that that's what you're
Well,
saying. You have disproven Einstein.
Einstein
I
was
just want to
alive.
make sure.
Unfortunately, before Einstein was dead, they since he's died, we've kind of advanced in technology quite a bit. So we're able to
Really?
actually measure the Earth's rotation now. Did you know that?
And how do they do that? Yeah, how do they do that?
Laser ring gyroscopes.
Laser ring gyroscopes. Interesting, dude.
Hmm?
And
Sure.
Explain. Go ahead. How do they do that?
Okay. So these are devices that use the Sagnac effect to measure the deflection of lasers bouncing around a ring. Okay. The typical ones use mirrors, and they've actually come out with newer ones that are much smaller and lighter and cheaper to build that do not requires. They use like a silica ring made of
So
silica.
do they use mirrors or do they not use mirrors?
The initial laser ring gyroscopes used mirrors. The newer ones they're
And what are
building
the
do
ones
not use
now
mirrors.
used?
A silica ring. It's like
So are those
made of
experiments
silicon.
void? Which ones are the accurate experiments? Which ones would you say are void?
I'd say they're both accurate. One just so the reason they made the silicon ones is because they're smaller. They're actually micro. You can build them because they're made of silicone. You can make them really, really tiny, and they can fit in airplanes now in smaller places. They're cheaper to build. They're because planes use laser ring gyroscopes. And here's a nice study from Caltech University who built one of these laser ring gyroscopes. These are the students that did the experiments, and they measured Earth's rotation on this chip scale ring laser gyroscope. And here you go.
Yeah,
You can read all about it. Here's all the data
Hey,
behind it.
Well, I got you. I got a lot of a lot of data. Do
Sure.
they have any observable experiments?
Yeah. Here's one right here. Here's a peer-reviewed observable experiment that they measured Earth's rotation using a chip
Now,
scale
do
ring
they have a
laser
video
gyroscope.
to that experiment, like a
Oh,
link
you need to
or
see
something?
it on YouTube for it to
Well,
be
I
real.
would like to see the experiment. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could
Okay.
read all about it, but I'd like to see it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. I haven't found a YouTube video that shows
That's
this yet.
unfortunate. Yeah. See, and that's kind of what you'll find, man. A lot of the things you'll talk
Yeah.
about, they end up being real unfortunate.
Mike,
Hey,
are you saying Caltech and all these people are lying?
Yes. No, not in lying. What I'm saying is
No,
they're
wait.
misinformed.
Yes is your initial answer because I think that's your real
Yes.
feelings.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
Well,
go with
no,
your real
I don't
feelings.
think they're all lying. I think a lot of them don't give a shit. I mean, I think a lot of them make enough money that's like, I'm good. You know what I mean?
So
It's
you
like,
think
this is what they
they?
told us. Why would they lie? Blah blah blah. I make 120 grand a year. Fuck it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
think. I think it's real easy to not give a shit when you're making good.
So
You're living good.
10 students took one of these chip scale ring laser gyroscopes.
Why would 10 students who need degrees, right? So why would 10, let's just pretend they found something that's completely against it. Why would, if looking at any history, anybody who goes against the grain gets fucking canceled, deleted, killed, or their shit anything that, you just kind of echo
that's
what
fine.
you're talking
Fair
about.
enough, Mike. Fair
I'm just
enough.
saying,
This
that's
is a
what
lie.
I would do.
Fair
I'm
enough,
just
Mike.
being
This
honest.
is a lie. Fair enough. This is a lie.
I'm
I
just saying you
got
can't
it.
prove it.
Okay.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's a
no.
lie. I'm
We
just saying
can
you can't
move
prove
on. We can move on past the
Globey.
scientific experiments that you want to see. We can move past that.
I
Okay.
just like observable science. That's
Okay.
all, man. That's all I ask.
Hey,
All right.
hey,
Fair enough.
Globey, on the Sagnan effect, is it the Earth spinning, which is actual
Fuck,
rotation,
man.
or is the sky revolving? The higher up you go, the more it changes, and Netflix didn't tell us that. So
Well, hold on.
so the Sagnan effect does not tell you that the Earth is spinning. It can maybe tell you that the sky is revolving, and
So that
we can have a discussion about that. But when you say Sagnan effect, you assume that what they did on Behind the Curve in 2018 was correct, and so I can't buy that.
I wasn't talking about Netflix at all. I was talking about this Caltech study. That was a
And I was
peer-reviewed
talking
study.
about the Sagnan effect. So thanks, Globey.
It's never
Yeah, that's
been
fine. But
proven.
I wasn't bringing up the Netflix documentary. I don't use that as evidence of
And I
anything.
strawmanned you. I apologize.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I mean, did you really? I mean, again, it's just
Yeah,
something that can't be proven. I mean,
it can't be proven because just because you're not on scientific evidence does not mean it can't be proven, Mike. You just
Bro,
you
I
only
just
want
want to
to
see it proven. I mean,
because
that's
you
all
only
it is.
want to accept the stuff you want to accept.
Well, evidence, fucking observable
Yeah, evidence.
science. What are you
Here's
talking
evidence.
about?
Here's observable
I'll
science.
only accept it. Well, dude, somebody saying something isn't science. I can tell you the sky's green. That don't mean
Mike,
it is,
Mike,
brother.
everything you've ever repeated on your channel is something somebody's told you. Every
No.
single thing.
No, not every single thing.
Every
These
single
are observable
thing.
science experiments. What are you talking about?
What have you observed
Hey,
that you've
guys.
repeated on your channel?
Incoherent dielectric or electrostatic acceleration.
You've observed incoherent electrostatic acceleration.
So you're saying that David Weiss's and Ken Wheeler's experiments with these two electricity causing them to go down and up. You're saying that
Yeah.
had nothing to do with
Yeah, you know why?
incoherent dielectric or
I am.
why?
I am because
saying-
they didn't experiment with a
God.
diamagnetic material, plastic.
God.
That's why.
Oh, for fuck's
If they had
but
done it with that, they
I'm
would have
not
seen no
diamagnetic
change in
plastic,
anything.
So why would I do that?
Yeah, you know what? Globe Man called
I'm
Weiss
not
out
made
for
of
that on a
plastic.
live, and
I
Weiss
don't need
was
to
like,
do that.
you know what
That
Weiss
makes no
said on his
sense.
live? Weiss was like, I got to talk to my experiment guy about that. I don't know. I don't know if we did that with a
No, yeah, there's a lot
diamagnetic.
of questions in flat Earth.
Yeah,
Nobody's
because he
saying
took
we
a
have all the
material.
questions.
Because he took a
What
material
we're saying is the
that was
mainstream narrative is
susceptible.
bullshit. That
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a big difference. There's a
Well,
big
yeah, we're
difference
saying
between
his
mainstream's
experiment was bullshit.
and
That's what
we
I'm
know
saying.
everything. There's a very fine line.
No, Mike, I'm saying what you want to believe is what the other people tell you because you don't want to believe anything else.
Observable
So
science or
you
what
believe
someone
what
said.
David, but you
If
believe
you
what
can
David
show
Weiss
what you
showed you,
said,
but you
I
don't
would love
believe
to.
what these students told you on this.
What
on
if
this
they? Yeah,
experiment.
told me, not showed me. They told me. If David Weiss just told me about his experiment, I'd be like, yeah, you got a point. He didn't tell me. He told me and
Okay.
showed me. You're just telling
All right.
me.
All right.
What
Well,
are you
I
talking
I showed you my Southern Cross experiment, and you didn't believe
So
that.
what? Optical. That has nothing to do with physical Earth. I'm talking.
Okay.
I'm not talking about optical experiments
Thank you
about things
for-
in the sky,
okay.
dude.
Thank you for
I'm
telling
talking about
everybody that you
where's
don't
the
believe
Earth?
We're not
my
getting anywhere.
you don't believe my optical experiments, but you believe
Okay.
David
Dude,
Weiss's
so
optical
me seeing
experiments.
the Southern Cross in the northern sky isn't
Come on.
fucking disproof of what you're talking about?
It had
Like,
nothing
what
to
are
do
you
with the
talking
northern sky.
about?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sure it doesn't, dude. Because
Jesus
it
fuck.
doesn't make sense. I'll let you guys hang out with Globey, dude. He's
Thanks.
killing it, bro.
Hey,
He's got
before
a
you
lot
go,
of observable
do you
proof,
want to tell me
man.
how
You
my
guys-
water ball
You
experiment
guys
was
tear it
bad?
up, man.
Mike,
Come on,
just stay.
come on.
Just chill, man.
Damn it.
God damn.
Hey,
See, this is. I knew this was
Globey,
gonna happen.
Globey, can you
When
tell
you guys
me?
hop in the same lives, you guys just bicker, and then we don't get anywhere.
I don't know what to tell you. I had a perfectly reasonable conversation with True Earth down below me. Okay, Mike got really defensive because I embarrassed him on my water ball thing, and then he started attacking me. Okay, so I don't tell
Well,
you.
it's not about. I mean, it's not about embarrassing each other. It's about educating each other.
He doesn't want to be educated.
Hey,
This is the
Globey,
problem I have with flat earthers a lot of the times because you guys claim to want to find the truth, but then when you see things,
Don't say
you
you.
go,
Don't say
"Nah."
you.
I don't say
Glo-
you.
hey,
I said
Globey,
flat. I said some flat earthers. I didn't say you guys. I
No,
said
no,
some
you
flat
did
earthers.
say you did say you. So you did classify me,
Hey,
but that's
hey,
okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it. You didn't know. You didn't know. Now you know.
Globey,
Now I
could you
know.
help me with something?
Because
Sure.
I do follow you.
Can you
All right,
tell
man.
me
No, I
what?
appreciate it. Look, but he got just real angry at me this whole time, right? I was not angry at him. He's the one that blocked me because I was calling him out on his fake giant videos where he had CGI photos of giants that were easily found to be CGI. Yeah. Move on.
Globey, question real quick.
Sure.
Thank you. In 1915, there was there was eclipse that we saw a star eclipse, and because of that, we basically threw Newton's mass attracts mass and a force downward out the door, and we came up with bending and warping of space time. Can you tell me what bending and warping of space time is?
Can I tell you what it is? I mean, I can tell you what Einstein theorized it to be. I'm not sure how that pertains to the discussion.
No, I changed the discussion, but I just want to know. I want somebody to tell me what the bending of space time is, which looks to only happen here on Earth because you have to get large bodies out in the vacuum before gravity starts to take over again. So, what is the bending and warping of space-time on Earth?
It's theorized that the larger the mass is, the more it bends space-time. I mean, it's again a theory that it works. It happens to work. The equations Einstein developed work to model things and predict happening in deep space. Excuse me.
So,
Okay,
so he go ahead. Sorry, Goldie.
So his observations and equations work, and those were created to model things because we did find that Newton's equations did not model deep space well. Okay, they work on the you know of on Earth much better deep space.
Now, I know you know this, but Einstein said, "I have come to believe the motion of the Earth cannot be detected by any optical experiment." And
right.
I just want to know, and so we won't do it tonight because I want to really have a good conversation with you sometime, and
Sure.
I want to have a deep one, just back and forth sometime. But I want to discuss gravity and acceleration with you sometime. I don't want to do it now. I appreciate you, and I want you to know that.
All right, man. I appreciate it too. I won't lie. I thought coming in here I was not going to be able to have a conversation with you. I won't lie. But I like it. It's good.
I'm going to explain myself, and I apologize for the last time you were on. But we did have Baron and
Yep.
Josh and yourself against me. I felt a little intimidated, so
Okay.
I didn't ask the way I should have, and I apologize.
Fair enough. I appreciate it. So look, unless you guys got too bad Mike's gone. I would like to have asked him, but one of the biggest things that proves a globe horizon drop. Okay, it's required if we live on a sphere that the higher you go off the sphere, above the sphere, the horizon will fall away from you because it's curving literally. Now, horizon drop is measurable as you go. It's measurable. It drops away from you, predicted by globe math. And when we get out, and it's not a ton of drop, which is I think a lot of flat earthers' problems. They expect it to drop more than it should, but at about 36,000 feet, it's about 3 degrees. That's it. So 3 degrees, that's it. About 3 degrees down. That's all the drop there is.
when Felix did his Planet New Mexico jump in 2012, he opened the door at 127,854 feet, a little over 20 miles, and the camera behind it rise into his level flat, and he did his fisheye when he came out and came down to earth. But when he opened it up at 127,854, it was flat, and it was so flat that Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson had to get his beach and explain that it was that stuff was flat. So I appreciate you defending your globe, but I think we can come up with something else like that.
Okay. But can we all agree that what you just said is not a measurement?
Well, if you actually, I think this is what we get into. We're told not to trust our eyes, and
we shouldn't trust our eyes. I house with my eyes, right?
We're told not to trust our eyes. So when Baumgarten opened the door, and the rising came up into eye level, and it was flat, and then his CGI actually, made it that Mr. Tyson had to come out and say, you're 2 millimeters above this beach ball. You can't see any curvature. It's perfectly flat up there. And then when he went up 63,000, played the little fisheye play up there, which I actually have a picture of, but I'm not going to go live. Sorry. I'll do it sometime, Globey, when we're in trouble another time. And it showed concave and convex from 63 miles up, and Neil deGrasse Tyson had on and also say that it's flat up there 63 miles. So I know you can say one thing and we can say thank you.
I would just say to that, not a measurement. When that door opened, you're looking through maybe a 3-foot wide opening from the other side of the capsule. So you're not getting a wide field of view. You're getting a very narrow field of view out of that door. And by saying it's not a measurement, I'm saying it's not a measurement because I got nothing to display it. But if that capsule isn't pointing perfectly horizontal to his eyes, you don't know if that capsule is tilted downward a little bit or tilted up. You don't. We don't know. We don't know what that capsule is doing. Okay, it could be tilted down slightly, which would mean it's pointing at the horizon, right? We just don't know. I'm not saying it is. We just don't know. So that's my point. We should be measuring things, right?
Would you rather believe the camera in the capsule, or would you rather believe Baumgarten's fisheye lens coming down?
Well, I don't want to believe his fisheye lens either, but I do understand that fisheye lenses create barrel distortion. That's what they call it, right? Where it curves things downward and upward from above and below. So if it takes a horizontal line, it will curve it like this and then curve it like this below, right? But what you have to understand about barrel distortion of a fisheye lens is that whatever's through center frame of your shot is not distorted. Doesn't matter if it's flat horizon or a curved horizon, it's not your center video. Okay, and if you Google a barrel distortion grid, it'll show you what barrel distortion looks like. You'll see that. You can just look up fisheye lens pictures, and you'll see everything through the center of that picture is flat, straight. If it's a horizontal line, it stays straight. Okay. So it doesn't matter if they're using a fisheye lens or not. You have to, if you pause the video, literally pause the video, you will see the natural, regardless of what it is. Okay. That's the natural shape.
Globey, if you had a chance to throw Neil deGrasse Tyson under the bus and continue on without him, would you?
Was the only.
Sorry.
If you had a chance to get rid of Neil deGrasse Tyson as a spokesman for the Globe, would you?
I don't know if I'd throw him out, but I'd certainly give him a "what the fuck are you doing" kind of speech, because he does some stupid shit sometimes. But he's also taken out of context a lot, like the whole Baumgartner thing, right? That's a good example, because if you watch the clips of him saying that stuff is flat, right? He's placating the audience. He's trying to be funny, right? But the whole speech where he's telling his whole story about the point of why he's doing that, his whole point is that he was pissed at Red Bull for using fisheye lenses because he wasn't high enough because he's admitted on stage that they were exaggerating the curvature of the Earth. Now, I think we can all agree that Neil deGrasse Tyson does not think the Earth is flat. Okay. So what he was saying, was the fisheye lenses were exaggerating Earth's curvature. And he ends the whole segment that he's talking about by saying, I'm paraphrasing, but he says, there's no reason to exaggerate, to use the fisheye lenses to exaggerate Earth's curvature. Earth is beautiful the way it is, and they shouldn't have done that. That's all he said. That's the whole point of what he was saying, was Red Bull should have not exaggerated Earth's curvature by using the fisheyes. That was it.
My hair looks terrible tonight, so forgive me. But I should have my baseball cap on. But here's the 63 miles that they took out there that showed concave and convex from 63 miles up. And the only way you can get concave and convex at the same time is if it's flat. And that's the only way you can get those to go either way. And so here's the 63-mile one. And again, my hair looks terrible. I'm sorry. And here's the Felix Baumgarten, which everybody's seen. So anyway, I'm gonna go back to the camera.
Right, look how small the field of view is on that little door. Okay, I mean, what do you really expect to see out of that, right? We got to see a wider field of view to understand what's happening there.
I'll put my baseball cap on next time, and I'll go live.
I disagree with your statement that it has to be horizontal to get the curving up and down, the warping effect. Okay, because you can do that yourself. I've done it on my little globe here next to me. TikTok has a fisheye lens effect. You can do it with that. I've put videos up showing it. You can get that globe to wobble, and you can even get that globe to invert itself and look like this all the way at the bottom of the frame of the shot.
Does it bother you, Globey, that at 63 miles up, they played with the fisheye lens like that? It would be concave one moment and convex the other.
It doesn't bother me because I'm not searching for whether the Earth is flat or not anymore. Okay, and neither is NASA. Okay, so I know everybody's pissed. Why don't you just send up a rectilinear lens? A wide angle lens allows you to see much more. Okay, that's why they use it. That's why it's on your phone. If you zoom out of your phone camera, right, it turns to a wide angle lens where it distorts things, but it gives you a much wider angle, right? That's the whole point of it. So, I mean, people have to understand that NASA's not sending up rockets to prove the Earth is flat or a globe. So when they send up, they're going to send up GoPros because you're going to see the most field of view using those lenses. But here's a good example. I want to show you guys this. No, can I show you this real quick? This is a fisheye lens, right? I just want to show you that there's no, God damn it, this camera.
Hey, just as a joke, I fucking hate you guys.
I hate you too.
You guys literally just keep talking.
Would you like to interject?
No, not from you. It's like, man, there's no pause in between from anybody.
All right,
No,
check it out.
I want to see what you're talking about though, too.
Okay, this is a fisheye lens of a building, shot of a building, and you can see it's distorting, right, downward here and upward here, right? Watch through center of the picture. Look at this floor, right? It's perfectly straight. Okay,
Looks like
this ledge. Well, it's warped towards us. Okay, well, right,
away from us, from side to side.
Right, but it's not curving like a smiley face or U.
Yeah, it's straight. Right? Got it.
Right. So if this was a curved surface, it would look curved here. Okay, because everything through this part of the video, the picture, is not going to distort. That's just how a fisheye works. It does not distort. Look how straight this is, right? It does not distort anything through center frame. So if you're taking a picture of the horizon of the Earth and you center it through the center of frame, you will see the natural shape of the thing you're looking at.
Hold on, go back.
If it's the what?
Go back at the last one. Is that from is the eye level, is that different?
Well, he's looking, I don't know, he's standing on the street, so he's looking up a bit.
Yeah, but the other one looks like lower, if you know what I mean.
This one? Yeah, it's not really lower. He's still standing on the street, but it doesn't really matter. The point is, whatever's through the center of the picture is not going to distort.
It just looks like the second one just looks like the guy's like laying down, taking a picture of.
Yeah.
But that's neither, here nor there.
Right. I probably could find it, but it's probably a pain in the ass because TikTok sucks trying to find things. But I've done it. You can take a fisheye, the camera effect of TikTok and look at a curved surface, and it looks perfectly curved, the normal curvature it is through center frame. I've done that like probably a dozen times on TikTok.
Hey, while you're doing that, Greg.
Yep.
So you were mentioning laser earlier.
Yes.
What system? If you did work the system, do you know how far it would shoot out to, so distance, and then what type of model, just so I can look that up, and then if not, that's no worries. What's that? No, I'm not a laser expert, so I'm not the guy to talk about lasers. Right. I do. I have looked into atmospheric conditions that cause the refraction of lasers. You have inverse temperature gradients over lakes, things like that. But yeah, I'm not a laser expert. What I do know about lasers, you want to use a green laser because they're less susceptible to atmospheric interference. And okay, no, that's what I was huffing and puffing about in the background. If you heard me say like "oh fuck" like a million times, yeah, no, it's because I0 and Colvigate IR lasers with on M4s. So when you're doing that stuff, like in the military, it's obviously that's crucial because you need to bore light and make sure everything's centered. And it's like a very crucial thing. So when it comes to shooting at night, you just hit a button, and you can hit the target that you're shooting at.
Yeah, so those lasers, and that's what I mentioned before about the FE core experiment. They need to be collimated, and collimated is, so I don't know if you know what that means or not, but lasers, just like
Well, it's
every
like
other,
zeroed. You're
no, not
zeroing
really.
to
Well,
your
that would be calibrating it, right? So what collimating does is light lasers, like any other light, diverge. Okay, you shoot a flashlight, right? It comes out in a cone shape, right? Lasers focus the light, obviously much tighter than a light like a flashlight does. That's why they're laser, right? But they still do diverge. And when you're shooting a laser, especially a laser over long distances, like 40 miles, right, or whatever FE core did, you have to 25. You have to account for collimation. Okay, if you're not
I'm not gonna take a shot over 40 miles. So that's the only thing.
right. Well, yeah, so they took a shot over 25 miles, right? But the beam's going to diverge over that distance. Okay, and it's also gonna refract, because lasers refract just like every other light refracts, especially when you're shooting it along the surface of the Earth where the most distortion is occurring. And if you're shooting a laser straight up in the air, there's going to be much less distortion or bending than if you shoot it along the surface of the Earth, just because of the density of the air down there.
Hold on, so they're just shooting the, not to cut you off, but I am cutting you off, but
That's
just
fine.
they're shooting just the laser itself then, and it's curving?
Yeah, they're shooting a laser across the lake.
I just want to make sure that, all right.
Right. And if you're not taking into account the refraction of that laser or the wideness of the beam when it gets to the other side, how are you doing a valid test? Right?
Right.
You're just not doing one. You have to take into account those variables, or your test is invalid.
So how would you change their final analysis when they showed the final analysis after experiment 7 from 25 miles? How would you change that?
They didn't use the temperature readings that they took. They didn't use them. They didn't factor those temperature. They took them and they published them, but they did not use them in the calculation of anything, of the refraction of that laser beam. So they should have taken that into account, and I think I know why they didn't do it, because it would have hurt them. But that's my assumptions. But they didn't take that into account. Okay, they didn't use a collimated laser, and they said they didn't do it because the collimator broke. Okay, which may be true, but then you shouldn't have done the test. You should have waited till you fixed it, and got the laser beam collimated. So, those two things right off the bat would have helped improve the results of their test. Now, the third thing was they started the test as a I'm going to hit the target test. Okay. So when they first, I'm talking into my computer screen. So when they first started the experiment, announced the experiment, they were going to do it as I'm going to set up a target on the other side of the lake. Why does TikTok suck? I can't turn my damn camera around. So they were going to hit the target on the other side of the lake. And then before they did the experiment, they changed it to an I see it test, where they weren't going to, the objective of the test was no longer I'm going to hit a target at 25 miles away, but it's just going to be an I see it. So someone on the other side of the lake is going to go, I see a green light out there. I see the laser. Test complete. Okay, so go watch it again, because they did that.
So the 270, forgive me, 273 feet worth should have been curved. That's just kind of like baloney.
The 273 feet, it could have been curved.
At 25 miles, 9 feet observation height on one, 6 on the other, Earth curve calculator, there would be 273 feet of hidden curve or hidden Earth.
It's not baloney, but if you have the right atmospheric conditions, the laser beam will refract and stay along the curvature of the Earth.
Right. Okay, Globy. So your contention is from 25 miles away, I'm going to say this respectfully, prove your ball from 25 miles away, that laser would bend around the ball because of refraction. So
Not a little bit.
Can prove your ball.
Well, I'm not saying it proves my ball. The experiment done was to disprove the ball, right? So their experiment should have hit a target, but it didn't. Didn't hit a target. They just saw it. So if that laser light is bending even slightly around the curve to the point where you can see it from the other side of the lake, whether it's hitting you or not, it doesn't have to hit you. Remember, if you see the light, they considered that a successful test.
So refraction bent the light 273 feet.
No, I didn't say that. No, it didn't, because if it did, it would have hit the target on the other side of the lake.
Okay, all right. Hey,
no, I'm not saying it bent it that much, but it did allow them to see the light.
Is there
what's the furthest the laser goes?
It depends on the laser. I don't know the one they used.
I know there's GPS ones, and there's like ones like.
I mean, we have lasers that hit the moon, right? So it depends on the size and the strength of the laser, but.
Okay, yeah, but I know it depends also on there have been dudes in the comments as well. They talk about humidity and everything like that, and I totally agree with that. If there's a target that's, we'll say, 100 meters away, my IR laser with my nods is not gonna. It'll catch my laser, but the humidity will block the laser itself from trying to hit its target, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So this is the problem with the whole thing, right? There's so many variables when talking about shooting lasers or light through the atmosphere to try to measure something. It's a terrible way to do an experiment.
Well,
it's
terrible. IR though. Hold on.
For both sides.
That's the thing though. I'm saying that you're using IR or anything like that, or what you're referring to as IR. Right.
Right.
I'm just saying that with the lasers that I've worked with, that's just my personal perspective. Humidity is taken into account, and then I seen guys in the comments. I think a few of them reserved to. They talked about you as well. Talking about the humidity and whatnot, but I don't know. Because I know you can use like gamma rays, right? If I'm wrong on that, then
you're getting that. I mean, you can take infrared imagery, if that's what you're talking about.
Well, I'm saying to shoot through humidity.
Yeah. Well, look, some wavelengths of light penetrate better than others, right? So infrared is one of those. But it's still susceptible to refraction. It's not. I don't know the word. It's not. I got no words. It is susceptible to refraction. Is the bottom line. It's less susceptible than a flashlight light, right? Like a visible wavelength light, but it does refract. So, yeah, you can improve it a little bit using infrared. When you're shooting lasers, right? There are no infrared lasers. So you're shooting a laser and trying to hit the target on the other side. Laser is visible light spectrum. It's going to be susceptible to bending, and unless you take that into account, and not quite honestly, I think it's a waste of time. There's got to be a better way to try to do it than trying to shoot an optical, like a laser or light, across a long distance and trying to act like you've come to a conclusion based on that. It's crazy. There's too many variables.
Hey, Globey, did you tell us just a little bit ago there's nothing that can convince you now for the rest of your life that you don't live on a ball?
No, I never said that. I never said that. I can be convinced of anything, but I have to see evidence of such, and I have not seen anything of flat Earth. And I think that's a flat Earth. I think that's a flat Earth point, the talking point, right? That they're not trying to prove. Let me put words in your guys' mouths, but
it's okay.
I hear it a lot that where they're not trying to prove flat Earth. And Mike has said it. Mike has made videos about it. That the goal of flat Earth is to disprove the globe.
That's right, because those of us, I don't like flat Earth.
Right.
And I used to go. I can go with biblical Earth. People don't want to talk about that stuff. I have. I've come to the conclusion that because of the Antarctic Treaty and not being able to go 60 south parallel freely, I'm going to put that word in there, and you
Okay.
can't go within 500 miles of the North Pole freely. Then I would say that no. I think if you're a true earther or flat earther, and you want to get a model of the flat Earth, it's a waste of time because you don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. So, I mean, I agree that could lead to some questioning, like why are they doing that? Why can't you just go freely? That kind of thing. I also think it's a bit of a jump to say because there's restrictions going there that they're hiding an almost entire other Earth, right? I mean, that's a big jump. That's a big jump.
I know a lot of people say it's hiding what birds supposedly found. It's hiding extra land, which I don't buy into at all. And it's hiding the fact that it actually tells us that we live on a flat Earth, and a lot of it's philosophical. Some of it may be religious, and I can live with that.
Yeah, well, okay, so you can live with that. That's good for you. I don't live with the philosophical. People like to say, well, Freemasons this and this and that, and they're lying, and that's all philosophical arguments. Okay, I don't placate, and I don't reference authority in general to to show proofs of the globe. Um, yeah, we can just go look at all of globe Earth. There's thousands and thousands of pictures taken of film of Earth, okay, on 70 millimeter film. We could go look at that. But then we can just argue whether that film is real, I guess, or not. We can argue about that all day long.
I think the thing we got, Kepler once said, I demonstrate by means of philosophy that the
Right.
Earth is round and it is inhabited on all sides, that it is insignificantly small and is born through the stars. So I think a lot of people on our side think that it's a philosophy. You have Phil Plant that said, I have two things that might surprise you. First, geocentrism is a valid frame of reference, and second, heliocentrism is not any more or less correct. And so, and I can go on, and I'm not going to bore you with, I'm not going to go on and bore you with stuff tonight. But I have about 40 quotes from people that believe we live on a spinning, watery, curvy, bendy ball that also realize that the geocentric model could be just as possible as what they would call the heliocentric model.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I've seen those. I think those came from Witsit, maybe. But
Bingo.
Yep. So people underestimate how much I know about flat Earth.
I think you know. I think you know a lot about flat Earth, but I know a lot about globe because I was a globe normie with the telescope since I was 10 years old, and
Right.
I love my outer space more than anybody. And so I know the globe, but it's been 1 year, 2 days since I woke up to the fact that I don't live on a watery, spinning, bendy ball.
But what if all the evidence leads you to the shape of a globe, right?
I had all the evidence, and that's why I went the other way.
Yeah, Drano, Globey petrified of Witsit. Witsit is
I tell
witless.
you what, my friend. I tell you what, my friend. I'm not going to get into the medical part. I looked for a hero for
Mhm.
Convid for the last 2.5 years. I looked for a hero, and I was so bad I thought Trump would be a hero, and I was stupid to think that. But after that,
There's no such thing as heroes.
I looked for a hero, and I could never find one. And I found a hero on the globe side, on the stationary topographical side, and that's Austin.
Okay, I mean, if you want to use him as a hero, that's fine. I would say that he argues in misinformation or disinformation even. I don't know if he does it on purpose or not, but I'm sure he sells subs on his page, right? Is he selling subs on his YouTube page?
And I've given money through Cashapp. So
Yeah.
and I don't do that lightly. Just because he's trying to do it on his own. Plus, his wife is expecting. I don't know if you knew he's supposed to have a baby
Nope.
soon, and he's doing it. He's doing it outside the allopathic hospital, and he's not going to vaccinate the kid like the CDC wants. And I actually admire him more for that than I do his position on the ground we walk on.
Okay, well, that's good. Um, okay, so
Anyway.
we talked about Horizon Drop. There's also the stars. I love the stars. You know, I would love for what would prove it to me would be someone able to model the stars on a flat Earth. Okay, the flat Earth model just does not work for stars. Doesn't.
Here's what I've come to realize. I can go if I had the money. I could go just about anywhere on the ground and view things. But when it comes to the sky above us, it is hypothesis, it is guessed, it is basically what our philosophy says it is. So I know people who believe in the globe will say one thing, and the people who believe like I do and troubling do will believe another. And the thing is, we're never going to go there, and nobody can ever tell me now that I know, because I remember July 20th, 1969. I was in the den with my dad. I just dated myself. And I was in the den with my dad, and it was like patriotism, and we went there and all that stuff. And my wife and I, about 4 or 5 years ago, after my daughter got done playing her sport, we drove down to Mobile, Alabama, because I specifically wanted to see NASA down there. I mean, that's the only reason we drove till 2 o'clock in the morning was to see NASA, and I bought into it. The picture of Kennedy, 256 gigabytes KB, took us to the moon, and I bought into all of it. I thought it was cool. I look back at that now, and I know I was a fool, but that's okay. That's just me.
So is your mind changeable?
It's been when I was 10. My parents got me a telescope, 400 power. I only used 40 or 64 power. It had 40, 64, 200. Barlow lens took it to 80, 128, 400. And I still have it. I still have it out in the garage today.
Mm-hmm.
And I did science projects in high school. When I was in college, I took an Earth space science class. The professor knew that I knew about 20, 25 constellations. And he had me go out instead of him having to come from home to meet my fellow students, and they had to tell me 10. And so he knew that I knew my stuff when it came to space. And of course, I believed in Jupiter and Saturn because I saw them through my telescope. And I was big. And when Indianapolis TV told me that the ISS was flying over back in 2015, I went out and saw it, and I actually saw something up there, and I thought it was so cool. So I'm not a pusher. I was never a pusher or a zealot or a glober. I know that's a derogatory term like flurf is. And so I was never a pusher or an advocate. But doggone, I love my outer space, and I watched every single Star Trek in 60, 69, and I probably watched every single one of them at least 20 times. And I can actually say things that Kirk and Spock and Coy would say. So it's been an interesting journey, Globey.
So you've journeyed this far, right? But I guess my question was: is there anything that can convince you to go back?
No, none whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Even if you saw it yourself, none
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I've asked people. Can you provide me glow proof that I can go and visit and see for myself, and not have to travel into alleged outer space? I've asked people that. I haven't asked you that until now. But can you provide one glow proof that I can go visit and see for myself without having to go into a plane or an aircraft or a rocket or
Okay, well,
whatever?
if you're going to limit yourself to not leaving the surface of Earth at all,
Okay.
you're going to have to rely on the sky.
Okay.
Or you can do it actually with a theodolite would work as well. So a theodolite you can use, and a theodolite is a surveyor's device, right? I think you're familiar.
I'm learning about land surveying. I'm not. Don't know about what you just mentioned. I've learned about land surveying.
So you can look this up. So a theodolite is just a device that surveyors use to measure angles from your eye line to objects. They don't particularly. It wasn't designed to do flat Earth debates, right? But it can be used for that because what it does is measure from your eye level, and it measures at 90 degrees from your eyes and puts a crosshairs out straight from your eyes. And then you can measure down to whatever you're measuring to. In this case, they're using the horizon. Okay. And you can do this at various altitudes. You can see this isn't at sea level. We're well above some boats here. But there's horizon top here, measurable with the theodolite. You can actually do these. Do I have any pictures of it? I have so many tabs up usually from these debates. I usually leave them up. Let's see. Yeah, up real quick. You can download apps on phone. There's apps you can download that do the same thing as these equipment, but this is what a theodolite looks like. And you can do this from a plane. But you said plane, right? So you can do it from a mountain that you can walk to and do it. If you do go in a plane, which is something anybody can do, so I'm not sure why that's able as far as things we should look at. But if you were to look at a theodolite app and go into a plane, you the horizon. I don't know if you can see the full screen. And this is repeatable, and the higher you go, the more gap there is between that reticle of your eye line and the horizon. So that indicates to me. No problem. And so a way to verify this as well is with a jet's heads-up display. They do the same thing. Principally, they do the same thing. This green line heads-up display is the HUD horizon line, which is always lined up with the pilot's eyes. It's horizontal to the plane at all time. On ground, this line is lined up with the horizon perfectly. Okay, and as the plane altitude, this gap increases. If you go Google of pilots filming their heads-up display on flights, has nothing to do with flat Earth or globe Earth. They're just filming it, and you can watch how that works, and you'll see every time with altitude, measurable horizon drop about 3 degrees from 40,000 feet from the horizon. And it decreases, obviously, when they land, it goes back down and touches the horizon. So that's a way to verify that. Now, if it was flat, that would be rising to your eye. There'd be no horizon drop, or at least a lot less horizon drop. Here's an example.
Real quick, not to cut you off, Loby, but I got a quick question for 610.
What's up?
Yes, sir.
So 610, being somebody that's proficient in astronomy, from what I was just listening to,
I don't know how
I'm just trying to, well, knowing 25 of the constellations is somewhat proficient. So how do you figure on a flat Earth with your seasonal constellations like Andromeda and Orion, which are only visible for part of the year? Like Orion's just now coming up, and you're starting to lose your galactic core with M4, M8, and all the other ones right there.
The stationary plane does revolve counterclockwise, and they do have seasons. They reset every year, so they will look different up there. Now, I will admit this: I have never looked into the sky and seen Orion, and so it's very interesting that you say that. So obviously Orion has the belt. The 3 stars for the belt, and then one on each side, which is very distinguishable. So I have not experienced the fact that I have not been able to look in the sky and not see Orion at some time. But I do know it's counterclockwise. I do know that the stars within constellations have never changed their appearance nor the intensity of their light from the stars. And so I understand from the flat Earth standpoint how the sky works, especially around Polaris. Now, when it comes to the southern hemisphere, I tell you what, I would love to go. I would love to take a trip down to the equator, work my way down to not necessarily Cape Horn, but that's a long way down there. That's 56 degrees south. So, but I would love to go down there so I could finish it all for myself.
So here it is. So this is from Australia, looking south, and they're clockwise, right? Opposite of the north. North
Yes.
is counterclockwise, right?
Yes.
But I don't even care about the I mean, that fits a globe as well, but maybe that could work on flat Earth too. I don't know. But the point is actually
I think
more so.
Go ahead, Globey. I'm sorry.
More so, the point is right here, where these star trails looking south are creating a circle around a central point like Polaris, except here it's Sigma Octantis, and it's due south at all times. Doesn't matter where you are, what country you're in, Sigma Octantis is always due south. Okay, that's just a fact. Okay, I mean, you can't even dispute that. That's just a fact.
Real quick, I wanted to ask him one question. 610, without asking too much personal questions, where are you located at?
Me?
Yeah, are you in the United States, and if so, what state?
I'm Central Time Zone, USA.
Okay, so you shouldn't be able to see Orion. Go out tomorrow evening, and as you're hitting dark dusk, I'm guessing about 7 o'clock your time, Orion will just be rising, if at all, but Orion should not be visible until probably about, I want to say 9 o'clock. I'm over here in California, and I know it's not visible for me until about 9 o'clock here. So you're probably about the same. You'll be looking for Betelgeuse and Mars will lead its rise, but before then, you can't find Orion.
One thing, thank you for that. One thing, full disclosure, I have come to appreciate biblical cosmology. If you look at my page, the latest video, 2 days, it pretty much explains Genesis 1:16. God placed 2 great lights in the sky, made them self-illuminating, and it is a video. I have a video November 3rd today, and a video November 1st. It's on TikTok. It's on my page. You can see it and make comments on it whenever you want to.
I was just wondering. Orion's my favorite constellation. I'm an astrophotographer by hobby. I've been doing it for 6-7 years now, and Orion is my favorite target to shoot. Is the Orion Nebula and Horsehead and everything within the Orion constellation. It's just so much really cool gas, and you get some really cool photos out of it. So
yeah, maybe you can tell me why.
When Orion comes around, it's the best stuff. And I have about 20 grand in telescope gear that I photograph with.
I know I got a cheap mount. I got an EQM35, but maybe you can tell me why the goddamn thing won't track.
Probably because your telescope's too heavy for it.
God damn it! It probably is.
But I just had to go on that point. You're not going to see Orion year round. I wish I could, because I'm trying to put together a 40 picture collage for that of this giant gas cloud that surrounds the constellation right there called Barnard's Loop. But pull out your telescope, look right at the sword of Orion, and you'll see the nebula even with your telescope. It's so bright. That one in Andromeda you can spot, and you can kind of tell the coming of the seasons with those two.
See, I have a problem with the average Globie, which I used to be, the average Globie hears 15 zeros behind a number that's quadrillion, and they hear quadrillion and they go, "What's for dinner?" They hear quadrillion and they go, "When's my favorite NFL team play on Sunday?" They totally tune out, and they don't realize that in the 1990s, a European satellite said that Polaris was 434 light years away, 5.88 trillion miles in a light year, which would have been 2.5 quadrillion miles. And then just recently, they told us it was 26% less than that. It was 323 light years away, or about 1.8 quadrillion miles away. So I'm going. They're telling us stories that we're supposed to believe because, as a Roman emperor used to say, or did say, or maybe said, give them bread and circuses, and they won't care what happens to them.
So
So tell me
why?
when my dinner is, and tell me when the Dallas Cowboys play, and you could lie to me all day long, and I wouldn't care.
If they were faking that though, why would they even make a revision to that number?
Oh, confusion, absolutely.
Confusion? Why not just status quo it? I mean, it doesn't even make sense to
No,
introduce that.
it's to let them know. It's to let us know that they know more than we do. And go ahead and continue with your dinner and your Dallas Cowboys. Don't worry, be happy.
Okay. I guess so. I guess it's possible. I think that's kind of a weaker argument. I think they would just not rock the boat for no reason at all and tell us.
It's the same thing as this NASA probe that went through the sun's corona in January.
Yep.
They said that it made it through 1.8 million degrees Fahrenheit, or 2 million degrees Fahrenheit, and the hottest thing on this Earth is 7,100 degrees. But this probe made it through, depending on who you believe, 1.8 million degrees Fahrenheit, or 2 million degrees Fahrenheit. There's no way they could have tested for that. There's no way no way they could know that. They just said it made it through, even though the hottest they could test on Earth is 7,100. And become a stationary topographical believer like I am, then that stuff just makes you laugh inside.
Okay.
Actually, on that point, didn't South Korea and North Korea just set off their fusion reactor, which almost reached the temperature of the sun?
Yeah, China has a fake sun, they call it.
There we go.
They do. I saw that.
And that reached somewhere near the temperature of the sun. So I think we can measure just a little bit higher than that.
It burns at 70 million degrees.
Yeah, so
there you go on that.
We'll agree to disagree on what the sun is.
All right, well, y'all have fun. I'm hopping off.
Take care.
Check out Orion at Duskfall. It should be coming up. You can download the app like Solarium. It'll show you exactly where it's at. It comes up right on the east, I want to say, for me, but you might be at a different longitude, latitude. But
don't only use Stellarium for northern stars though, because if you use it for the southern stars, even though it works, it's lying.
Gedula, Gobi, if you have any questions on that mount, hit me up.
I do, man. I can't get it. It's so frustrating. I want to give up.
I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good night.
All right,
Take care.
Bye. All right. Now that would indicate that the ground we're living on might not be flat. That's all that does, because it's away as we increase altitude. Now we have the stars. Stars that do what I was just showing that I can't find again because I got too many tabs open.
Did you just go by that Earth calculator? Did you just post this when I threw it?
For what?
I saw the Earth curve.
I do have one of them.
The Earth with the Earth curve calculator on it.
One of them has, one of the tabs has the Earth curve calculator open on it.
See, I'm paying attention to you, Globie.
Yeah, this is the Earth curve calculator right here. looking for signs of stuff. So the fact that there's 2 points of celestial rotation, one around Polaris, one around Sigma Octantis in the south, does not work on a flat Earth unless you introduce some magic, like holograms or something weird going on that's not explainable by science. Okay, it makes sense. The northern stars make perfect sense because the Polaris is centered around the North Pole, right? And all the stars circle around it. But it doesn't make sense for the South because it does the same thing. This this happens because I guess I gotta Google it again.
Here's my thought, Globy. You'll laugh at me.
All right.
It's okay. It's okay. I haven't done. I did a lot of research on viruses and stuff like that, which brought me to the shape of the Earth. I could talk terrain theory all day with you. And then I went to the ground we walked on, and then I went to biblical cosmology, and now I'm just barely getting to the sky.
Okay.
The thing that gets me, and now I lost my train of thought. Forgive me. The one thing I know what I was going to say, and you might laugh at this, and it's okay. And I might have a different opinion next week, but there's two thoughts. I believe in a God who created the earth in 6 days, rested on the seventh. I believe that. That's fine. It disqualifies me from a lot of people, and that's okay. So there's two rules of thought. It's possible that the northern stars, the southern stars, are a reflection of the northern stars. That's why Sigma Octantis is basically opposite of where Polaris is. That's a possibility. Two, we have a dome above us, and we have some sort of something going on with the dome that causes the southern hemisphere stars to go the other way. I don't know if you've seen it, the demonstration. Maybe I'll try to find it someday to share it with you.
I've seen them.
Yeah, and if you've seen them all, you put a dome over the Earth. You could and rotate the stars, revolve the stars. You can have one going one way and one going the other. Again, I might change my mind on that next week, but that's the only two explanations I have now, because because of my what I posted on my TikTok on November 1st, November 3rd, and biblical cosmology. I accept God's science before man's science. That sounds crazy. That sounds nuts to a lot of people, but that's where I'm at.
Okay, so to get that observation to work with a dome, you have to have some magical reflecting lights, and then
Yes.
I've
Yes.
seen
Yes.
those where it does make the stars circle the other way.
Yes.
Okay, but what those explain is the location of the stars, because as you can see on this representation here, the south pole, this is where Sigma Octantis would be lined up with, and Polaris would be lined up here, right? And as you're spinning on this ball here, you're looking up and you're seeing Polaris centered here. And if you're down here looking south, you'd see Sigma Octantis centered around these spinning stars. This is so simple and so fitting of what we observe every day with the southern hemisphere. It boggles my mind the hoops that flat earthers jump through trying to model it using holograms and all this, this stuff that seems crazy to me, because I think everything should be represented of some saying something is a hologram is that's just off the wall. Like, there were holograms 1,000 years ago, or
And the thing that gets I went to after I got done with my viruses and my apoptosis and necrosis and all that stuff. I went measurements first when it came to the Earth, and I went to measurements in the Trans-Australian Highway 300 Railroad, 301 miles, should be 11.42 miles worth of curve. I went to I-5 San Francisco to LA, 383 miles, should be 18 miles worth of curve. Obviously, I went to the Grand Canyon, the West Tower, 70 miles across there, should be 3,000 feet worth of curve. And then obviously I went to Benton Harbor, just across to Chicago. And I went to all those things. And unless somebody told me it was geodetic surveying, which I pretty much understand what they do. They measure flat, and then they use a digital apparatus or a textbook from a long time ago bend everything to 3959, and they use different models to get to 3959. It's all a crack of crap, but that's okay. And so somebody will tell me that the Trans Australian Highway Railroad, 301 miles, 11.42 feet of 11.42 miles with the curve over 60,000 feet. They tell me that's geodetic surveying, and I go no. And all these places, if you look at architecture, blueprints, engineering, never ever tell you that they factored in curve with these globe people who tell me about Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. I'm about 500 miles away from there. In Pontchartrain, yes, they do build things that curve. They do build things that curve. It has nothing to do with curvature of the earth, because even if Lake Pontchartrain bridge curves, and I haven't been there, and I would love, even if it does curve, the water underneath it is flat. So I don't care if they build something that shows curve. You have 10 bridges in the world that are over 22 miles long. Only one shows curvature or possible curvature. That's the same thing Globey is saying. I have 10 people. 9 of them are 6 feet tall. One is 5 foot tall. But because I found one that was 5 foot tall, the other 9 who are 6 feet tall have to be 5 foot tall as well. And I'm going, that makes absolutely no sense. And people will do mental gymnastics to prove that they live on a ball just because of Lake Pontchartrain, and it just blows me away.
Well, I don't know if the bridge at Lake Pond is the best because on a curve, a lot of bridges do have bulges in the middle to allow boats underneath.
Absolutely.
So that's not really a good example. But the power lines are more of a better example, because they're going to be built at the same elevation above the lake the whole way across. So that's definitely a better representation. I have video of people taking an entire from the side view of Lake Pontchartrain power lines the whole way across, and then splicing them together, and you can see the curvature of those. But again, we're talking about semantics here. The tunnels. I think the rail tunnels in the UK, they just had to resurvey the land because the initial maps did not weren't accurate enough as far as the curvature goes to redo all the trains, the subways. So they actually had to resurvey and create new maps that were more accurate to show there.
Here's a fun, and I'm going to research this because I haven't researched it yet, and I'm going to research it. You can research it too if you want to.
Okay.
The new building in Saudi Arabia that's 75 miles long that they announced in 2021. The blueprints for it over 75 miles don't account for curvature at all. I am going to research that one out as much as I can. You're welcome to. Troubling is welcome to. Greg is welcome to. But that's 75 miles of this building that I'm told that they didn't factor in curvature. I'm going to look that one up, and allow everybody else to look it up too.
I'm not sure how you would determine that, but yeah, you should definitely look into that.
Well, when you get into land survey, right? Land surveying.
Yes.
You're not really going to take the curvature into account, because if the Earth is what we determine it to be, it's not going to seem as curved, right? Because you're designing a building, or you're designing roadways. You have to deal with elevation, XYZ, right?
See, in the 1880s, 1870s, when they built these, I don't want to say thousands, but hundreds of miles of railroad in the 1870s, 1880s in the United States, they never factored into curve. Never, ever, ever.
Okay.
Why,
Okay.
why would
Okay.
why
But if
why
it's
but
that
why would
big
you
though,
have to factor in the curve? Yeah. Why?
Okay, I'm going to ask you this: if you're on a ball of 39.59
Right.
and you have 100 miles, you should have 6,667 feet of curve.
Okay,
And
but what does that translate to in degrees of change? Because that's very
okay,
important.
I'm going to be honest with you, Globy. I love the idea that you guys go to degrees, but
It's important.
a degree is still miles. And I understand that, from my understanding, is 1 degree equals 69 miles. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so when you say degree, you still mean miles. And
It
this
translates
is
to miles. Yeah.
and this is the mental gymnastics that advocates do, is they say level is curved when they do geodetic surveying, and they go to degrees when a degree is 69 miles, which you still have to account for. So when you say degrees, you're trying to make it so small that I go, what's for dinner? And when did my Dallas Cowboys play football? And I've learned that it's mental gymnastics when globe people start talking about degree, because 1 degree is still 69 miles, and 60 miles, don't quote me on this, 60 miles is 2,400 feet worth of curve. So if you have
Over the entire
2,400 feet worth,
69 miles.
over 60 miles, I believe it's 2,400 feet of curve. I don't know what it is over 69. I haven't figured that one out yet. I know 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 100. And I know 301, and I know 383. So, and I know where to get the information on the other. It's like, I appreciate you breaking it down to a degree, but a degree is still 69 miles.
Right, but I would say you're pointing out the feet droppage over the entire length of uh, whatever you were talking about. Um, you're making it sound worse than it is, because it's not as bad as that is, because that entire foot droppage is over the entire length you're talking about.
And you
It's
have
not
to account for that,
it's
Globy.
not sudden. It's not sudden.
Otherwise, you would get the item that you're building, whether it's a railroad or a highway, it would levitate in the air. It means it wouldn't. I have. I won't take too much time on this, but I've had 3 people tell me. You may know Matthew Learns. You may know Rua, and there's another gentleman that I told about the 301 miles at the Trans-Australian Railroad, and they told me that you could break it down per mile, 8 inches, and do that 301 times. Okay, if you do that 301 times 8 inches, you would get a little over 200 feet, 200 feet, 8 inches. And they actually believed it. Matthew Learns, who is a professor in math in California, actually believes that. He's told me that 3 times. And so I say, Matthew, with your math, over 301 miles, it would only have to bend 200 feet, 200.8 feet, where the Earth Curve Calculator says over 60,000 feet. So if we used his math, obviously it would
so
levitate above the
which Earth
ground.
calculator are you using?
I'm using the one that you went through, that Mainstream Science, NASA, and Geodetic Surveying uses. And so if we would use what Matthew Learns told me and what these other 2 people told me, the radius of the Earth would not be 3,959 miles. It would be 1,191,659, and the circumference of the globe would be 7,495,201 if we went by that math. And then if you broke it down even further and said we're only going to do half-mile sections at a time, it would be even greater. Now, Globy, I appreciate the fact you've been nice to me when I wasn't nice to you before. But this is the mental gymnastics that will never ever take me back to my spinning watery bendy ball that I knew 98% of my life. It will never take it back because I would have to be intellectually dishonest with myself to believe in a ball because of everything that I've seen in the last year and 2 days. And just like I used to believe viruses cause illness, disease, and death, they do not. They don't even exist. And I was never taught that. I was never taught that anything other than a spinning, watery, curvy, bendy ball at 5 years old because my kindergarten teacher told me. And by the time I was 10 years old, I had 5 years of indoctrination. And if I would have gone against the spinning, curvy, bendy ball when I was 10, I would have been laughed at by my teacher, by my student friends, by my families outside of school. So it's indoctrination that makes us think. And then it's ego, pride, reputation, indoctrination, Stockholm syndrome, cognitive dissonance, and confirmation bias that keeps us there. I threw that all out and I said, I'm never going to be lied to again.
So it couldn't be that you're just not understanding the curvature.
Oh, I understand what Matthew Learns and Ruhef and the other guy told me, and I understand that just fine. And then I did the math myself, and I found the radius went up by. See, they weren't off by 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10. They were off by 301. And so I appreciate your passion for your globe, but I don't share it.
Okay, so the reason we bring up degrees is because
Holy shit.
it's easier to picture in your head a train. If a train starts at 0 degrees, call that 0, right? And travels 70 miles, it has only tilted from where it started 1 degree from where it started.
But it's still gone 70 miles.
It has still gone 70 miles, and it still has dropped from where it started about 3,000 feet.
So the person says, "Oh, it's only 1 degree. I'm going to go back and watch my Dallas Cowboys."
Well, no. It's called looking at it in a different way.
That's what the average Globie says.
But 3,000 feet sounds like, oh my God, 3,000 feet. But but when you think of it that way, you're picturing yourself jumping off a 3,000-foot cliff. Okay, but that's not what's happening. You're slowly dropping 3,000 feet over an entire length of 70 miles. That's 46 miles. 46 feet every mile. That's it.
If you're on the watchtower on the very east side of the Grand Canyon, I have a picture of it here somewhere, but I may not go back online because of how my hair looks. If you're on the very east side of the Grand Canyon at the watchtower, and you look across, of course you don't have any water or land below except for the the canyon. Mm-hmm. You look across, you're supposed to have 3,000 feet at 6 feet observation height. You're supposed to have 3,000 feet worth of curve. Now you look at it just with the eye and look across there. There's no curve, and I haven't even started with the Nikon P900 yet. You can see across there, and there's no 3,000 feet worth of curve.
Seeing to what?
Bending away from you.
You're looking just at the horizon.
With my camera yet?
You're just looking at the horizon from the other side.
I'm looking across and seeing the other rim on the west.
The other rim,
and it's not bending. It's not bending away 3,000 feet.
So you're inside the canyon.
No, I'm not inside the canyon. I'm on the outside of the canyon, looking where the watchtower is at 6 feet observation height, looking across 70 miles to the west rim. There's supposed to be 3,000 feet worth of curve at 6 feet observation height. There is none.
How do you know there's none? That's what I don't understand.
It's what my eyes tell me because I've been there.
But you're just going on feelings. I don't understand.
No. Hey, Globie, please don't tell me not to trust my eyes.
I will absolutely always 100% tell everybody not to trust your eyes.
This is why we have optics, though, too.
Why would you want to look at your eyes with your eyes and not verify with a measurement? I will
actually say that I will trust my eyes, and
come on.
No, it's very nice that I saw what I saw, and someday I'll go back with my Nikon P900. I'm 1,000 miles away from it right now. Someday I will go back with that, and I will zoom in up to 60 power. I know it goes to 83, and I will see that.
So this is
And
why, but this is why we talk about degrees, right? So from where you were standing, you looked at the other side 70 miles away. That means your vision would only be looking downward from your horizontal of your eye 1 degree. Now,
70
if you're
miles.
telling me that you
70,
your eyes to be able to measure, discern 1 degree from 70 mile away, you'd be crazy. That's
are
like
you
Superman vision.
are you wanting me to? That's why I tell people to use the P900.
I mean, a
And
camera zoom doesn't really matter.
Hold
We're
on.
talking about angle of you'd still have to point the camera down 1 degree to line it up centered in your vision, right?
and this is where we're gonna disagree. We are told not to trust our eyes, to trust the science. Are you saying to use?
No, not science. Measure
Are
it.
you trying?
Measure
Are
it.
you telling me to use geodetic?
I'm telling you, if you're there on that in that water and you had a theodolite, you would be able to measure 1 degree down from your eye level to horizon. 100%.
I don't accept 1 degree. I go by miles. I'm sorry.
Okay, well then we're never going to agree because that you can't measure mileage from standing there. How are you going to measure
You
mileage down?
absolutely can judge miles from standing there. Absolutely. You can actually drive that. You can't drive at the northern section. You can drive at the southern section. You absolutely can.
If 3,000 miles equates to a 1 degree tilt of your eyes down to the horizon, why wouldn't
3,000.
you measure it?
Yeah.
If you measure a 1 degree tilt, then you're verifying that's dropping 3,000 feet.
See what you're doing is you're saying, forget the 70 miles, just concentrate on the 1 degree. I reject that.
Okay, you reject it and replace it with just look at it.
I know. I go with. You're good.
This is what I'm saying, dude. But you are though, right?
I'll say one thing about you. You're
All
good.
right, all right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And
I try.
no, you are good, and you don't cuss, and I appreciate that.
Sometimes I do.
It's I go miles. I go to Benton Harbor, Michigan, look across to Chicago, and see the Sears Willis Tower. Same thing, 1,450 feet tall, antennas at over little over 1,700 feet. I go 30 feet observation height because there's a bunch of hotels at Benton Harbor, Michigan. I go up 30 feet out height, 54 nautical miles, 60, and
Where were you at?
Benton Harbor, Michigan, looking across
Okay.
to Chicago. There should be 2,038 feet worth of Earth curvature between me
Levy,
and Chicago.
it doesn't really
2,038
matter.
feet.
So none of what you're saying matters if we can't agree that whatever we're looking at, you or me or anybody, if we can't agree that when you're looking and talking about these things in order to use them as evidence of something, that you should measure it. If we can't agree on that, then there's nothing there's nothing else to talk about as far as observations go.
It is measured 62 miles across, and there are days that the uh, atmospheric conditions are ripe for being able to look across there.
Mm-hmm.
Not every day because of atmospheric conditions.
Mm-hmm.
You all of with when there should be 2,038, all of Chicago should be gone. People have taken pictures of it, and Mr. Tom Coombs, the ABC meteorologist at South Bend, Indiana, running with the entire view of Chicago from 50 miles away. He had to get on TV and say it was a mirage, that what you saw was something that was out of view, but refraction or mirage brought it back up so you could see it all. And I confronted him with that for a couple of days last January. He finally gave me, when I showed him some pictures of the Apollo 11 moon landing that NASA supplied, he said yes, they didn't go to the moon. And I appreciate that because that's what I got out of him. because he wouldn't budge on Earth's curvature.
All right, real quick, just to interject, I can't get my phone to charge at all, so I am going to go ahead and start to wrap this up. We're also coming on to the third hour, so I do appreciate everybody coming on. It's been a great conversation. I'm going to go ahead and start from the bottom, and everybody get in their last little bit, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up.
Greg, Globy, Troubling, thank you.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I just want to say thanks. I like talking about this stuff. If we could talk about viruses and train theory without being censored and banned, I do that too, but we can't.
Well, hop on over to my Rokfin, and I'll have I'll have you on. We'll have to talk about it.
Are you on Rokfin, Troubling, Tribune as well?
I am.
Because I have that app. I'll go over there. Okay. I can talk health more than I can talk about this stuff. So
I'd love to have you on for that then, because I've actually been looking for a guest to talk about that kind of stuff. But you definitely can't talk about it over here. That's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, you three, thanks very much.
Yeah, man.
All right. I'll say, obviously Earth's a globe, and you don't need the government to prove it. I have several videos on non-government proofs. I'd love to hear counters to any of those things. So please go yell at me in my comments about it if you like. But I think if you put all the pieces together one by one, you'll find that that we're not living on a flat, endless plane.
Hey, Globy, Earth's the ball. Trust the government. Take the booster.
I agree with the first thing.
I love that. Earth's the ball. Trust the government. Take the booster.
Should make a T-shirt. That's a good T-shirt. So it's funny. I just want to point out. I think it's funny that people associate all those things together. I distrust the government. I don't like the government at all. I think I'm a registered, for what it's worth, I'm a registered libertarian. I don't trust the government. I want freedoms. I'm very happy that the Supreme Court just overruled New York's ban on carrying guns and will now allow us to exercise our constitutional rights. So I'm not a liberal government trusting lunatic, or whatever you guys want to call them. I just think that those two things don't equate to the Earth being flat and NASA's lying. Okay, I distrust the government to run my life. I also don't think that means the entire space program of the entire world is lying to us. Okay. Final thoughts. Thank you.
And just like I have nothing against you. You guys were just it seemed like a two-person debate.
I'll be quiet.
No. It's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what we're all here for. But it seemed like a discussion turned more into a debate. You know what I mean?
I agree. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. But I mean, if anyone, whether it's Troubling, Tribune, True Earth, if you guys do your own lives, I'll hop in. But I'd say discussions are definitely more productive than debates.
I'd also say that I came in here to look at bait and didn't get it, but I'm fine with the. I thought it was more of a discussion, so I guess we feel a little bit opposite on that. But
well, I mean, I just really didn't get. I mean, I've been in here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've been here for a while. I mean, I was gonna shut it down at like 21 p.m. I stayed here way too long and just.
Hey, last time I was on Troubling Tribune, I think I did 5 hours. Maybe it was 4. It was long. I was exhausted. I think it was 3:30 a.m. I went to bed.
Yeah, where are you guys located at? So I know timelines.
I'm in New York.
I'm Central Time.
Central.
Eastern.
Okay, and then where you at?
Eastern.
Eastern. Okay, yeah, Midwest. I'm in Illinois. Yeah. The not saying this is a bad live, but getting more aspects and facts are probably better than going back and forth.
Greg, I mean, let something up with me. We'll do something. All right.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right. Just message
Yeah,
me.
I'm friends with all you guys, so yeah.
Maybe Troubling will host it. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Love you guys. Thanks for having me.
Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
I hate that this ended civilly. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Dang. Enough.
I appreciate everybody coming on. My phone may cut off here in just a second, but you can catch the full live. To follow me, if you haven't already, you can check on YouTube and on Rokfin. I'm going to put the first half of the debate on the YouTube, and then I'm going to put the full debate over on Rokfin. So be sure to head on over and check out that stuff. I appreciate you all for coming by, regardless of what side. Great topics, great points from all sides. So we'll be sure to catch you guys next time. We may pop back on tomorrow, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. And until then,